Hello everybody, welcome into Talladega Superspeedway here in the NOMA Truck Series. Qualifying is underway. We are getting pretty close to race time here, but drivers are going to have 5 minutes beforehand to get their qualifying lap in. We have already ticked away a little bit of that time, make it about 1 minute and 50 seconds as there's going to be 3 minutes just about left in qualifying. We thank everybody for joining us here on Ghost Racing Network. You are watching the Green Ghost. We are looking at Jeff Carl here in the 98 for Lucky Dog Racing. We'll see what kind of lap he can put down. First time, well, not the first time here, but first time that we will officially be taking over from what it sounds like here for the NOMA Truck Series, and very excited about it, but we're still going to have to get used to these guys a little bit, get everybody's names, get everybody's number, paint schemes, etc. So do work with me a little bit tonight. But excited to be here, excited to see these guys take on the baddest, fastest track in NASCAR that is Talladega Superspeedway. It is going to be a 250-mile lap, or sorry, not lap, 250-mile race tonight. So pretty long ways to go. Everybody's going to have to make sure that mentally they're focused. Because although we know superspeedways kind of have the draft to use as an equalizer, if you're not focused, all it takes is one little slip up. Your night can be over. Everybody does have a faster pair, though, so they don't have to worry as much about the ever-looming big one that I'm sure we'll see at some point sooner or later. Cody Witt in the chat says, go Paul Witt in the 429. Let's see if Paul's out on tracks. It looks like Justin Parham is going to pull it in. Chris Akers of Hillsville, Virginia. One of the best drivers over in the Super Speedway Series. Just equally as good here in the NOMA Truck Series presented by Manny Ray. And this is going to be his lap as you see him diving down to the tri-oval there. That is to get the most lap time that you can out of it. You'll take that one lap to warm up all the way around the top. You'll cut that tri-oval. Important to note, they can't do that in the race. Here in qualifying, anything goes, but if you try that in the race and you pass someone, you will be penalized, sent to the back. It is going to put Chris Akers, though, fourth on the board. Nothing to be ashamed of. Justin Parham currently leading the field in terms of qualifying time. How about Robert E. Morrison, another Lucky Dog Racing driver? See what he can do here. This looks like this. I don't know if this is his lap based off the line he takes into turn 3. Doesn't have a lap on the board. Actually, he does 17th. This is his lap. So what he did right here, you'll notice he was in the middle and then he dove back down into turn 3. And that's because if you try to hold that bottom coming off the turn, you're actually scrubbing off just a slight bit of speed. So you see he rides up to the middle line, and that will help his lap time out just a little. We'll see if it's enough to kick off the top dog right now, Justin Parham, with 40 seconds left here in qualifying. Across the line. Let's see where it puts him on the scoring tower. Looks like he is going to go up to 9th. Top 10 qualifying effort. Nothing to be ashamed of. Nobody is yet to knock Justin Parham off. It is going to be Kenneth Riedinger, though, going third. And just as I say that, guess who takes the pole? It's going to be Paul Witt in the 429 Max Speed TV driver. And this may just about wrap it up for qualifying. Looks like we might have a couple left. Chris Akers has parked it out on track. Matthew Fritz just finished up his qualifying. Looks like he is going to get it slowed down into a stop. And it was right before Paul Witt actually had taken over that top spot. I was going to say, last time I was here broadcasting the NOMA Truck Series, the battle was pretty much between Justin Parham and Kenneth Riedinger. Not going to be the case tonight. Everybody's going to have a shot to win us. We will get down track side and get everything ready to go here in just a minute. We'll be right back. Stick with us. All right, everybody, welcome back live here on Ghost Racing Network. The drivers are gridding up, so let's get right into your race info. We are here in the NOMA Truck Series presented by Manny Ray at the ever-looming Talladega Superspeedway. The weather outside, 75 degrees, 10% humidity, clear skies, and 2-mile-per-hour wind. It is a giant 2.65-mile superspeedway oval. It looks like the track temp is just over 100 degrees Fahrenheit right now. Pretty toasty. The race tonight is going to be the Ed Williams Smith Sr. 250. Going to be a tribute race to Ed, who is not here tonight, unfortunately, dealing with personal issues. We wish him the best. We are in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. It's going to be a 94-lap event, 70% fuel, 5 tire sets, 1 faster pair, which is going to be important, especially here at Talladega, and it is going to be fixed setups. That's your race info. Now let's jump right down into your starting grid. Leading the field to green tonight is going to be Paul Witt in the 429. Second is going to be Justin Parham. Third, Kenneth Riedinger. Fourth, Robert Duvendak. Fifth, Jeff Carl. Sixth, Chris Akers. Row 4 is going to be Randy Bonomi and Sam Boutwell. Row 5, Matthew Dyer and Clay Cantrell. 11th starts Robert E. Morrison. To his outside is going to be Willie Cantrell Jr. Moving back in the field to 13th is going to be DJ Maddish. 14th, Matthew Fritz. John Lynch, who I just heard has a birthday. Wishing him the best. Good luck, John O. Lynch. It is his birthday, and he's going to be starting 15th tonight. 16th, Joseph Fogg. 17th, James Scramandola. Joey Hickox for Hickox Motorsports starts 18th. John Bell to his and 19th. To his outside is going to be Xander Short. 20th. 21st, TJ Alien. 22nd, Albert Hewins. 23rd, Brian Anderson. 24th, William George. Row 13 is going to be William McKellar and Robert Jordan. Row 14 is going to be Russ Kilgore and Guy Braco. And that 28th truck of Guy Braco is going to be the last truck in the field tonight in the 69 truck. Let's go back up front. Give a little bit more of a shout out to your pole sitter tonight. Paul Witt ran a very speedy lap time. And pole is going to be very important here because you do not want to be back there when that big wreck starts to happen. It's the big one. We all know it. We all fear it. And a lot of drivers are probably going to be in it. One more reminder for anybody that maybe missed the race info. This is going to be a tribute race. Ed not here tonight, unfortunately. Dealing with some personal issues. We wish him the best. This race is going to be for his dad. See these guys 3 wide right now. Trying to get situated here. We are going green this time. So they're going to have to figure that out. And it looks like they're going to be able to. That might have been Chris Akers in the Reese's 4 truck. And here we go. Pace truck is going to pull off. We're ready to go. Drivers qualified. It's one of the most anticipated races of the season. And it is about to get underway. Paul Witt to the inside. Justin Parham to the outside. The 2 pushers are going to be Jeff Carl and Robert Duvendak. Green flag is out. We're racing at Talladega. Paul Witt gets a pretty good jump. He's got to be careful, though. We know at these super speedways, the line that gets the jump is the line that loses the momentum first. And just like that, here comes the 19 of Justin Parham with a push from Robert Duvendak in the 99. Chris Akers trying to lock up with that duo as well. And Justin Parham is going to get clear. He's trying to pull Robert Duvendak with him. He's got to be careful, though, here. If he waits too long, they might lose it. Looks like it's working out, though, right now. He's going to get 2, maybe 3 trucks cleared. And the 19 drops low. Robert Duvendak wants no part of it. He's going to stay to the outside where he gets one of the super speedway specialists of Chris Akers now to his back bumper. Chris Akers now going to follow that 99 to the low lane. That opens it up to the 47 of Sam Boutwell. He's going to get some help from Robert Morrison. So we come to complete lap 1 right now. It's looking like Robert Duvendak is going to take it. That outside Justin Parham jumped right back up top to get in front of Robert E. Morrison. It is going to be the 99 leading lap 1, though. With 70% fuel, we are going to see plenty of pit stops. There are stages, though, which I did kind of forget to mention in the race info, so we're going to pull that up and let everybody know what the stages indeed are. Stage 1 is going to be on lap 25. Stage 2 is going to be on lap 45. However, at 70% fuel, I don't know that these guys can necessarily make it to the end of stage 1. It'd be pretty close. It's going to be borderline right there. We'll have to find out. But Robert Duvendak still leads the way on the inside. He's got Chris Akers pushing him. Paul Witt, your pole sitter, back to the outside. He's getting some help right now from the 19 of Justin Parham. zoom the camera out, show you, go through the field a little bit, as everybody still looks to be pretty tight together, at least for quite a good ways back. Looks like Robert Jordan may have had an issue. You see he is off the pace back here by himself in the 74, and he is currently sitting a lap down. So he is hoping that these guys either get a caution now or that they can make it to the stage without anyone else going a lap down. Looks like Guy Braco is the last truck in the field. We did see some of the chats, by the way, that said, "Good evening, race fans. Happy birthday to my grandson, number 90, John Owen Lynch." This is number 18. Raymond Daniels Sr. says, "Let's go, Manny Ray's trucks." We saw a couple of those. Matthew Fritz going to be one of them here riding in the 48, currently sitting 11th, up 3 spots from where he started. Just to his inside is going to be Matthew Dyer in the 2, and there's John Litch, birthday man, trying to get a win on his big day. We'll see if he can do it. The driver out of Yulee, Florida for Spino Racing. Good looking paint scheme too. I like that. It's one of my favorite ones. A 429 out here in the front though. Big push from the 19 of Justin Parham. He tried everything he could to get him clear into turn 1. He couldn't quite do it that time. It's almost like at these super speedways, the momentum really shifts between turns and straightaway. It seems like in the turns that inside is the place to be, but down the back stretches where you really see that outside makes some momentum. The 19 of Justin Parham, let's ride on board with him, because man, is he pushing with everything he's got right now. Got to be a little careful, of course. You don't want to overheat that truck too early. There you go. There's the 19 of Justin Parham. Watch, he'll stay really close, not really pushing right now in the corner. That's where you hear that little burp of the throttle. As soon as he feels like they're on enough straightaway where he can, he's going to get right on the back bumper of Paul Witt. Ooh, and you see the back end of Paul Witt's truck wiggling around as the 19 is trying to hit him as square as he can. It's going to work out, though, as they are both going to be able to drop down low. Paul Witt is going to reclaim the lead back where he started, which was pole position. That moves the 47 of Robert E. Morrison back to the lead in the top lane, getting help from the 47 right now, it looks like. Or sorry, from the 43 rather. Robert E. Morrison is not the leader. Sam Boutwell's the leader of that outside line. Robert E. Morrison, the 43, is pushing. And he got the 7. I believe that's Wiley Cantrell Jr. 98 of Jeff Carl just to his inside. Let's see how some of these people are doing in terms of biggest movers. And we'll call them biggest losers. We're not putting them down. It's just the guys that unfortunately are going the wrong way early. And it looks like that is going to be Kenneth Riedinger, who is currently down 16 spots from where he started. We saw just how dominant that truck was at Kentucky last time we saw him. Oh, here we go. We're going to see some pit stops here. Sure enough, we are. And it looks like they all got in okay. Going to be a pretty decent group here, being led by Chris Akers and Robert Duvendak. And a couple more of them. It looks like the 66 is in, as well as Hickox Motorsports driver Joey Hickox. The 48, Matthew Fritz, is in as well. So we took down quite a few guys in this one. I believe Randy Bonomi, yep, sure enough, he's in as well. So that gives you your answer on if these guys were going to have to pit in this first stage. They are. And this is 2 of those strategies that we see. This group is choosing to pit as soon as they can, as it looks like, oh no, Randy Bonomi took a lot longer than I think he wanted to right there. The rest of the truck's already out on track, and it looks like Chris Akers, who let him in, is going to lead him right back out. Let's see if the rest of the field is going to decide to pit this time, working their way off of turn 4. Here we go. Does anyone go down? And it looks like we're only going to see one. That's not what you really want to do right now if you pit by yourself. You're kind of asking to go to the back. You've got to have drafting partners here. And it looks like it is going to be Albert Hewins. And if he could get on and off somehow here quick enough, he does have a chance to maybe come out and get with that lead pack, but he is really going to have to hustle. I don't think I like this call from the driver of the 55. We'll see if it pays off, though, and watch. We'll go to the pit cam here. You're going to see the rest of this pack hunting him down in a hurry once he makes his way off pit road, and that's what we are waiting to see. Here he comes. Watch for the rest of the pack. There they are. It's going to be that first pack containing Chris Akers, Robert Duvendak, and I believe the 7, that is Wiley. Let's see if anybody else decides to pit this time off of turn 4 again. Justin Parham, and here we go. This is going to be that second group making their way down pit road. Can everybody be clean here? It looks like it's only a 5-truck pack, and sure enough, no issues. And that's the benefit of coming with a smaller group. We'll see if Paul Witt can get out just as fast as Robert Duvendak and Chris Akers got in. Good news here is they do have a 5-truck pack, so even if they get out a little bit behind, you just have to be somewhere within that 2.5 range. You'll still have the draft, and you can get up there in a hurry. Paul Witt slides into his box. Here's what we're going to do. Let's pull up the track map. And there you go. You see Chris Akers, Robert Duvendak. Look for the 4 car. You don't quite see it yet. It's in the tri-oval now, that 18. If we watch the pit lane cam, there they are. That little 3-car pack, if you will, that's just crossing the start-finish line. And this main pack still electing to stay out so far. We'll see if they pit right here. And we're going to get another group of a couple more that are going to come down pit road. Let's see if these guys can also all get in cleanly. Sure enough, and boy, everybody looking really professional here early. I usually do a lot of these super speedway races, and it seems like pit road is the biggest trouble spot for a lot of drivers. Not the case for these NOMA Truck Series drivers. They're getting in here no problem. Getting out pretty good, too. Let's go see how this main pack linked up. Actually, we'll hold that for just a minute, because let's see how this pack gets out in comparison. And this pack that comes by this time of the travel is going to look a lot bigger on your screen. Watch for it. We'll see who's leading it this time. There it is, and it looks like it is still Chris Akers currently. But you see he's tagged on about 5 more trucks to that pack, and that is going to be those 5 that pitted. Just behind them is 3 more trucks, and I think they will be able to catch on as well, especially with this pack separating them a little bit. Looks like Xander Short, he did a heck of a job getting on and off pit road, maybe even picked up a couple spots, as he is currently up 6 spots from where he started. He's going to try to get right behind this draft, and he looks like he will be just fine. Max Speed TV showing some good strength here early. Now let's see where one of his teammates and Paul Witt is, currently running 7th, down 6 spots from where he started, but that's not a very fair stat. You consider the fact that he did start on the pole. We saw a couple of the Hickox Motorsports drivers come into the pits. Let's see how they're doing. Joey Hickox was one of them. And this might be that little 3-truck pack that we saw just behind. Let's see if we can get a bigger view of it. And sure enough, that's what it is. So they're going to have a little bit of work as they're going to try to catch this pack in front of them. That will become one pack, and that pack will try to catch the main pack. And they're going to have 15 laps left to do it before the end of stage 1. If you want to get paid out any stage points, you're going to have to go now. But it looks like the lead pack is still continuing to stay out. And so let's see. Did I have this mistaken at all? No, I didn't. So this is correct as we stand there. Yeah, because you see those 2 secondary packs in the background. If we put the track map back on, it's looking a little bit less busy than it initially was. Right now, it's showing everybody is on the lead lap. John Bell and Randy Bonomi. Also, that's James Scamordella. They are all kind of in jeopardy of going a lap down right now. They are hoping that they can survive to the end of this thing. And up front, still waiting to see a pit stop from these drivers, being led right now by DJ Madish in the 25 truck. One of the Lucky Dog Racing drivers just behind him. It's Joseph Fogg, one of the independent drivers. Robert E. Morrison, 3rd, another Lucky Dog driver. 4th, Jeff Carl, and rounding out the top 5 is going to be William George. And since you saw about 3 Lucky Dog drivers, this might just be a strategy they've made up beforehand. And they're going to see if it pays off for them. The 9 of TJ Alien. I believe that's actually Olaine. I'm not sure. Do let me know if I'm saying it wrong. Paul Witt leading the pack of cars that pitted rather already. We'll say trucks because that's what they're in tonight. Robert Duvendak 3rd in it. Chris Akers 2nd. We see Kenneth Riedinger. He has made up some spots all of a sudden. Ryan Anderson, Clay Cantrell, Matthew Dyer. This pack just continues to grow. Looks like William McKellar may have caught on too. And then you'll have to go a little bit of ways back where you'll find Russ Kilger, one of the independent drivers. Behind him is Manny Ray's Mafia's, one of them at least, and that's going to be Matthew Fritz, but it is a Hickox Racing driver. And just behind him is his teammate, another Hickox Racing driver, and that's Joey Hickox. Joey, one of the guys that you really look to see be dominant at these super speedways. Not the case yet. Still plenty of time, and we'll see if we see any strategies for who decides, if anyone decides to stay out during the stage break. I don't know if I could see that really working out too well, but we'll have to see as the 25 is getting shuffled to the back right now. That's DJ Madish. They went 3 wide for just a second. Nothing too sketchy though. 3 wide, not too hard to do here at Talladega. Don't get me wrong, it definitely takes a little bit more focus and concentration, but 3 wide here at Talladega is kind of the equivalent to 2 wide at Daytona. Talladega is a lot wider though than Daytona. However, if they think about going 4 wide, that's when it gets sketchy. And we might see some of that later on in the race. But I'll tell you what, this pack being led by Paul Witt, you would think these guys are currently in the lead. Look at this race, and these guys are all bunched up 3 by 3, couple rows back is where we're going to find that first 3 wide, and it is going to be the 2 Hickox Racing teammates, Matthew Fritz and Joey Hickox. And it looks like Paul Witt is going to jump to the high line. He tried to get around Chris Akers, couldn't do it. Oh, sorry, that is Xander Short, actually. Paul Witt leading the bottom. They both have those matching paint schemes. This group up front has lined up, and we'll see if they can maybe try to pull away. I think they may have realized something because right now that group behind them has been tracking him down pretty quick. Looks like over half a second a lap. And the thing that makes that even more impressive is that they're sitting here racing as hard as they are while doing it. 75 tags onto the back. That is going to be William McKellar. And he's going to move right to that top lane, try to help those two Hickox Racing drivers get to the front. And they really needed this help because usually with two drivers, two trucks, you can make a little bit of progress or at least hold your progress. But with three, you can really start making up a lot of ground in a hurry. But right now, just momentum doesn't really seem to be carrying too much for this outside. I'm not sure what's going on. Joey trying, but Chris Akers is going to jump up to this third lane, and that's going to cause him to fall back as well. And looks like the 4 is going to jump in line. That opens it up to the Max Speed TV drivers. In that front row, it is going to be Paul Witt and the 12 of Xander Short. And the 17, how about Brian Anderson? Really haven't. Brian's kind of been sneaking around this race. I haven't really noticed him. But here he is in the Flex Tape 17 truck, one of the Limitless drivers. And he does not have his teammate Cody Nagels out here tonight. So he's trying to hold down the fort, maybe bring home a win for Limitless by himself. Up front, still no pit stop just yet. It is 10 laps to go before the first stage is over. And we have seen some pretty fantastic racing so far. We'll check a little bit more throughout the field here as these guys continue to race on. Let's see how the pack behind this pack is doing. It looks like it is going to be led by Sam Boutwell in the 47, who we saw up front earlier. Must have had a little bit of an issue on pit road. Here he is back in 22nd. 23rd is going to be Albert Hewins. Guy Braco, 24th. 25th, James Scamordella. 26th, Randy Bonomi. 27th, John Bell. And it looks like the last truck in the field is going to be Wiley Cantrell Jr., and he is currently last in the field. And this group is hoping that they don't go a lap down from that lead pack. And if we bring up the track map, we can show you just how close that is to happening. And that lead pack right now, I believe it's this pack out of 4. Sure enough, it is. You saw the transition between dots right there. So they're going to have to hurry up. Remember, that lead group does have to pit, so I don't think they're in necessarily that much danger as it runs right now. That lead pack is all bunched up coming out of turn 3 right now. Sorry, that second pack, but what would be the pack for the battle for the lead once these guys do pit. And here it is. They have settled themselves back out to 2. I know caution is out. Not sure. Oh, here we go. We got one sliding, and it looks like it is going to be, I believe that's the 28, Russ Kilgore, who has crashed. It kind of looked like maybe we had saw something off of turn 4 there. And here we go. This is what it's turned into. Let's take a look at it. Oh, wow. This is going to be a 2 to 3 truck incident. I actually did not see this. This is going to be off of turn 4. This was in that second pack that was racing for what would be the lead once everybody else did finish their pit cycles. Let's see if we can get an idea of what maybe happens to Russ here. You see Russ is in this 28 machine. Oh, this is going to start up further ahead with the 2. Watch this. You see the 2 here on the left of your screen. Actually, let's go to him so it's a little bit easier to see. Can't tell exactly who that is yet. I think that is going to be Dyer, Matthew Dyer. Yep, sure enough, that's who it is. He's going to give Chris Akers a push at the wrong time. It's in the corner. You can't do this. Watch this. Just a little shot, and it's on the right side. Double no-no. Just that little tap. Wasn't trying to turn him, was trying to help him, but that sends Chris Akers down into the 88. And it's on from here. Russ Kilgore is going to get punted from the back, so he didn't make any contact with the initial part of the wreck, but he got sent around right here. Oh, Chris Akers just dodges contact with him, but the 28 is not going to miss that inside retaining wall, and he hits it pretty hard too. That's going to be decent damage. It looks like the 88 is going to be pretty good. Yep, he's got pretty good damage as well. That is going to be Clay Cantrell. Let's take another view of this. And I want to ride on board here for this one real quick with Matthew Dyer so you can see what I'm talking about, where it's just that little bit of too close. Just doesn't really work. He was trying to help Chris Akers, but unfortunately just kind of made the situation worse right here. Here you go. Watch this bump. Very subtle. And that was all it took right there. There's Russ Kilgore into the wall. We didn't actually get to see his initial hit right here. This is going to be a pretty hard contact. Does a nice job, though. Watch how close this gets here for a minute with Chris Akers. Oh, man, he tried. Just ran out of room, unfortunately. We'll take one more view of this real quick. Watch the 28. It's going to get a little shot here from the 75. That is William McKellar. Boom. There's the contact, and that might be fast repair worthy. We'll have to see. Good news is he was able to keep it to the side, so maybe not quite as bad as we think. But this is going to create a mini shootout for your stage win. As I do apologize for a second. Let's refresh this SDK real quick. We are trying to get back live here, having just a slight technical difficulty right now. And we are going to take a quick break to see if we can fix this. We'll be right back. Stick with us. And I do apologize for that, but welcome back live to Talladega Superspeedway. We are 19 of the 94 laps through so far this 250-mile event. Paul Witt currently leading the way. Started on pole, back in that saddle position. Second is going to be Joseph Fogg. Third is going to be TJ Allen. Fourth, Robert E. Morrison. And rounding out the top 5 right now is the 98 truck of Jeff Carl. DJ Maddish, though, and William George just outside that top 5. And it looks like William George is currently up 17 spots. So shout out to the driver from Louisiana doing a heck of a job here in the early going. We'll see if anybody decides to go down and top off. They should have already pit, I do believe. And when we were taking a look at the replay, we may have missed the pit stops. And actually, I kind of take that back a little bit. The guys that were up front, we would have expected to pit. And sure enough, they did. What we're seeing here from Paul Witt, remember, they pit early. Their goal is now to stay out, get as many stage points as they can. That stage is coming in just 5 laps from now, but once we go green, it'll only be 4, as we should be getting the 1 to go signal this time. So I think I like that move by staying out here, and then they'll go in during the caution. They do have 5 sets of tires, so you can take them during just about each time we get a caution if you choose to. Late in the going, people probably won't, because track position does become a very key factor at a certain point during these races. And you see it. The lights are off on the pace truck, so we will be going back green this time. It's going to be a 4-lap shootout. We might see our first sighting of very aggressive racing here. I think we're going to see 3 wide in no time. Don't know if we'll see any 4 wide just yet. It looks like we've had a couple chats since. Raymond Daniels says, let's go Manny Ray's truck. Manny Ray's Mafia watching tonight. Nancy Hickok says, let's go Hickox Racing. Hope that was a smart move. Well, I think it may have been, but we'll never know. It didn't get to work out either way, though. This is just going to help out the whole field. Unfortunately, Russ Kilgore, it looks like, has fallen a lap down for now. I'm trying to see if he repaired that damage or not. And it looks like Guy Braco is currently sitting 2 laps down in the 69. And it looks like, yep, sure enough, has used the fast car on that 28 truck, so he's going to have to be a little careful. Yeah, not sure what happened here to Guy exactly, but he has fallen down to, oh, it looks like he may have been involved in an incident. Let's take a look at this real quick. This is under caution. And you see him turn down here and just locks it up. Not sure exactly what happened here. Seems to have gotten it going, though, so. Oh, he towed it there for a minute, so that may have caused him some issues. And let's get this back to live since it's not one to work out too well for us. We'll do it the manual way. Here we go. Paul Witt up front to his outside. Joseph Fogg, second row. Robert E. Morrison, TJ Allen. They are ready to go green. Jeff Carl, 5th. Will we see anybody jump out on the start, or will they try to stay in line? Paul Witt is one of the max speed TV drivers. Joseph Fogg, though, isn't one of the independents. Will he get help from one of these guys, Esports Gaming or Lucky Dog Racing? We'll find out. Here we go. Pace truck pulls off the track. Rolling into the Geico restart zone. Watch for that 19 truck, 4th row on the outside. Green flag is back in the air at Talladega. Paul Witt did not get the best jump, but that's going to allow the 37 to hang even. The 9, though, is on his bumper, and they're going to try to get clear as soon as they can. Does the 9 of TJ think about jumping out, or does he stay tucked in line right here? The 37 on that outside, Joseph Fogg. They're lining up for a big run on the backstretch. He does have help right now from Robert E. Morrison. And here we go, down the back for the first time. They're going to lock bumpers right here. Huge run for the 37, trying to get clear. Looks like he does for just a moment. But back in front goes Paul Witt. 37 had a split second to make a decision. Wasn't able to make the one to drop down in time. And now he may have to stay committed to this top line for the next 4 laps because that was the best time to do it. Further back, looks like we are going to see 3 wide from Xander Short. He's getting help right now from the 17 of Brian Anderson. They're going to drop back down to 2 wide. Didn't like what they saw just to their inside. It's going to be Kenneth Riedinger. Joey Higgins. Oh, the 24 gets turned. The 24. Kenneth Riedinger got turned and he held on to it. Oh my goodness. What a save from Kenneth Riedinger. We will take a look at that at the end of the stage break. But right now, we don't want to miss anything happening up front because they are back to 3 wide racing. Here comes Xander Short and Brian Anderson in the top. They're going to get help from one more truck. Couldn't tell exactly who it was from here. Oh, they're still dicing around. Got to be really careful here, fellas. Don't want to tear these things up too early. And just like that, 3x3, 5, 6 rows deep. You can't tell them apart. The 2, that's Matthew Dyer. We saw involved in that last incident. Doesn't look like it shaked him up at all. He's still contending for the lead. Ooh, the 12, Xander Short, almost got turned around right there. It's going to stack up that outside for a minute. Ryan Anderson's going to try to get right back to pushing the 12. If they can't get out in front, they're going to have 3 more laps to do it. 429, Paul Witt still leading with that 37. Got a good push right there from Robert Morrison. And what is the 25 thinking about doing? DJ Mattis, he was up front. A little bit during that last run. Is he going to jump? Oh, the 37 gets turned. In the middle of the pack they go. This one's going to collect a bunch of drivers. The 25 is up on the wall, and it looks like actually somehow everybody, not everyone, but a decent amount of guys avoid it. The 37 is all banged up, though. So is the 96, William George. Turn 2 was almost a junkyard. Thankfully, most drivers escaped it. But let's go take a look at it. Boy, that is one of the scariest things you can see as an actual driver when the lead truck gets turned back into the middle of the pack. So let's find the 37 here because this is where it's Joseph Fogg. He was doing a nice job. This may turn into a push gone wrong. We've already seen it a couple times, and we may see it again right here. Let's play this slow for you here. You see the 43 Robert E. Morrison here is below him. I'm not sure. Maybe he was trying to take him 3 wide. Wow, just kind of turned him around here. And it's hard for us to assume in broadcasting because we don't want to wrongly put anybody at fault. So we'll just try to do the best we can here looking. And watch the 43 here of Robert Morrison. I'm not sure if he was trying to take him 3 wide here or what. But just hooks the 37 really. And it almost looked like a delayed hook too. He hit the 37, then not sure if the net code caught up or what. And that turns him right around, back up into the 25. Nowhere to go. And that was the case for a lot of these guys. The 25, DJ Mattis, riding up along the safer barrier on the outside wall. The 5 gets into it. The 43, Robert E. Morrison's in it. Looks like the flex tape truck wasn't able to check up in time. There's William George making pretty heavy contact. The 66, Randy Bonomi, is going to get into the 47 as well. Just a lot of decent trucks involved in this one. 47 back up to the outside safer barrier. Oh, and he actually gets upside down. We didn't see that in the initial wreck. And it looks like he's going to land back on all 4 pretty quick. But we got a couple drivers that I want to ride on board with real quick. And the first one is going to be that 43 of Robert Morrison. Maybe see if we get a little more insight on if he was thinking about just trying to take it 3 wide. All of a sudden that hole closed or what happened. But here we go. Let's ride on board with 43. Oh, sorry. Let me get you guys to the 43. Here we go. Back it up a little more. One more time. So you saw him dive down right here. Watch this. Yeah, man, that's a tough one. Really hard to tell what exactly he was going for there. If he was trying to take it 3 wide or if the truck just got loose on it. But either way, he made contact. And watch the ride that the 25 here, DJ Mattis, goes for. And then another driver that you saw right there that went for a pretty wild ride is going to be Sam Boutwell. To ride on board with him. Boy, he was doing a heck of a job sneaking through this up until that point where him and Randy Bonomi made contact. Just like that, gets ramped up. Off the wall. We will go back live now. Let's go up to your top 5 and see what it's looking like right now. And with that, it looks like the stage 1 win here is going to go to Paul Witt in the 429 truck. Second is going to be William McKellar. Third, Xander Short. Fourth, John Bell. Fifth, Justin Parham. Sixth, Jeff Carl. Clay Cantrell. Seventh. Eighth, Robert E. Morrison. Ninth, Brian Anderson. The last truck in the top 10 right now is going to be Matthew Dyer. But what else? Something else that I want to go back and take a look at here real quick. We'll go to intermission because we actually have to go to it. It's going to be the save by Kenneth Reedinger. Boy, it was one of the most wild ones that I've seen in a little while. I'm not sure how he held on to that truck. It looks like it is going to be... And we're trying to find it here real quick before we actually get to it. And it is going to be right here. Here you go. Watch this save. We'll back it up a little bit more where this initially starts. I thought for sure when this had happened, he was turned going into that inside wall. But somehow, some way, Kenneth held on to it. All right, watch what happens here. Joey Hickox, I think maybe he's just going to tag in the back of him. You see there's a little bit of a checkup starting to happen with the 96. They both try to go high at the same time to avoid it, and that's where that slight contact comes in. Joey Hickox just barely taps the back of the 94. Oh, wow, and the 31 of Joey actually made more contact up top. But how about the save by Kenneth Reedinger? And it was a good save, too, by Joey Hickox. And I believe that might have been Robert Duvendak as well. I think that's what it is. Watch this little contact here when Joey was also still washing up the track. Here we go. There it is. Boom. Oh, man. Robert Duvendak. How does he keep it out of the wall? These guys are playing with inches, playing with fire, and you can only play with fire for so long before it's going to burn you, and that looks to be the case right now. Let's go back up front live. And I wish this thing would go away. I do apologize for it. Second caution of the night, but this one was not scheduled as it was supposed to be for that stage break. It came a little bit before, and we are going to go green this time. Second stage caution is scheduled to fly on lap 45, but we'll see if they can make it till there. In this stage, they should not have to worry about pitting. I wouldn't think it would. It'll still be really close though again, so we'll have to see. If we see anybody pit early, that's pretty indicative that everybody's going to have to pit. If we don't see anybody pit early, they should be able to make it all the way. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Hope everybody's having a good Saturday night, watching these NOMA Truck Series boys go at it. Paul Witt, William McKellar, John Bell, Clay Cantrell. That's going to be your top 2 rows. Jeff Carl, Brian Anderson. A couple other guys up here going to try to get a little bit closer to the front. I think if you're in the top 4 rows right now, you got to be feeling pretty comfortable and trying to stay up here. If I was in anywhere in the middle of the pack right now, I think I'm trying to get out of the pack. I always like being either at the front or the back. But these guys know how important those stage points are, so they'll try to stay as close as they can to the front throughout this whole run. We'll have to see. We've seen the aggression slowly picking up, even though we still have a pretty long ways to go here. We'll see if that trend continues up or down. Long line of cars on the inside. A lot of guys chose to come in and top off. That tells me fuel is going to be pretty close. Not Paul Witt, though. He stays out, wins stage 1, took the pole. We'll see if he can take stage 2. Here we go. Green flag back in the air at Talladega. Really good start this time from the 429 of Paul Witt. He is trying to clear that outside in case he has to jump up the block, but I think he's going to stay down here. Going to get some help from John Bell momentarily, but is it going to be too little too late? That outside is really stacking up. William McKellar and Justin Parham are going to have a huge run down the backstretch this time. And there you go, the 19. Oh, we got a little offset. Got to be careful. Boy, that 19 is really wiggling around. Just like that, though, William McKellar is able to drop right down in front of Paul Witt. And that opens it up to Justin Parham on the outside. He's getting pushed by the 88 of Clay Cantrell, who we actually saw involved in an incident earlier, did take his fast repair. And here he is back up in front with a clean truck, trying to push that 19 to the lead. Don't look now at the 17, Brian Anderson in the flex tape truck. Does he think about maybe taking it 3 wide right now? Would he get help from Matthew Fritz, one of the Hickox Racing drivers behind him? Randy Bonomi maybe thinking about trying to help his teammate in the 48. Unfortunately, he's got a couple rows to go before he gets there. Just in front of him, though, is John Lynch, who has a birthday today. I believe I heard he's turning 18 today. Here he is for Spino Racing, trying to get himself a win. Joey Hickok's behind Randy Bonomi, and it looked like from that view, Randy had a little bit of damage. The 19, Justin Plum, was able to drop low, and all of a sudden, huge momentum swing for this outside. 2, maybe 3 trucks going to get clear. The 17 still pushing the 88. When will Brian Anderson drop down, or does he not drop down? It looks like he goes with option 2. He's going to stay high here instead of going with the 88 down low. Everybody wants to lead right now, and you can see it. They just continue to trade off. One driver drops low, and it opens it up to the next guy up top. Ooh, the 48, Matthew Fritz, got really wiggly on the back bumper for a second. They keep it together and keep going, but man, every time they do that, that's going to cause a stack up further back. That's where it gets the sketchiest for the rest of this field. Looks like we are going to see some 3 wide up top. Randy Bonomi, Robert Duvendak, and Chris Akers are all lined up. That 66 has a little bit of damage on his left side. We'll see just how much that affects him. Third lane hasn't been working quite as well as we're used to seeing so far tonight, but they are going to keep at it. Let's take a look from the blimp cam. You really get a view of just how big this field is. Look at the spread, tight pack up front. 2 wide for the first 4 rows. Then we're going to go 3 wide for the next 3 rows. A couple guys sitting back right now. And we haven't brought up this strategy tonight, but it's a strategy that everybody has to play at some of these super speedways, and we're seeing it be played by some of these guys. No point in getting up here and risking getting your truck destroyed. Just stay back, right around, save yourself some fuel. Be there when it matters at the end. And you know it's a good strategy because we see some of the guys that have been really fast so far tonight, such as Xander Short up here doing it. Russ Kilgore looks like he's recovered about the best he can right now, back on the lead lap after an incident early. It does look like DJ Madish has fallen a lap or 2 down. You'll see it next time on your scoring tower. 2 laps down currently. Sam Boutwell is a lap down. Those 2 looking for a caution, but let's go back up front because these guys are getting pretty wild. Oh, looks like the 75, William McKellar, is going to slam the door on the 17 of Brian Anderson. And the 88 leading the bottom, that's Clay Cantrell. They still have 15 laps, going to be 14 this time till that competition caution, or sorry, stage 2 caution. We'll see if they can make it. Joey Hickok's now up to 3rd on that inside line. He is your biggest mover since this stage has started. Brian Anderson, though, currently up 20 spots, and William McKellar is up 23 spots from where he started. That outside line really snaking around. These trucks just don't look like they're handling all that well right now for these drivers. And that makes you worry. If you're anywhere in this pack, the more you see them snake around, the more you hesitate to think about taking it 3 wide or maybe leaning a little bit more on the door of that truck to your inside. We are approaching lap 32 of the 94 so far. It has been a lot of crazy racing. That outside right now is the 24 and the 90. Kenneth Riedinger and John Lynch, they're trying to get up here. I think they need a little bit more help, and they're trying to get it right now. From the 79 of James Scamordella, he's not quite made his way up there, and we'll see if one of the aggressive pushers, such as Chris Akers or Robert Duvendak, think about jumping up there. Looks like for now they're content where they run. And you would really want to be the pusher or the leader right now of any 3 of these lines. You're in a good spot. I think if you're any farther back than that, you are at risk of getting caught up in a wreck. Looks like Nancy Hickok said in the chat, points are important, but being so aggressive early hurts a lot of innocent drivers. Do that on the last lap. And I completely agree with you, Nancy, but these drivers have a different mindset than us. It's something about when you get out on the track, just, I don't know how to describe it, it just changes your mindset. You know the lead's right there. You want to do everything you can to get it. TV time is what we'd call it for the broadcasting, but that's not why these guys necessarily want to be out front. Being out in front lets the rest of the field know you're here to win, and you have a fast truck. That'll make them work with them towards the end. And I thought we were going to see a truck turn through the trouble right there. It looked like the 75 had got really out of shape. Keeps it together. The 17 of Brian Anderson drops low. How about Robert Jordan up 24 spots from where he started? And he's riding that middle, but here comes the big run from the 90 of John Lynch on the outside. Kenneth Riedinger looking like the most stable pusher as it works. And the 90 almost gets clear. It looks like now he is clear of the middle lane if he decides to take it. Gonna wait a little bit too long though, and Robert Duvendak is gonna get there now with a push from Chris Akers. And all of a sudden that outside starts to fade as the middle's gonna take over. Robert Dubidak and Chris Akers. That is a dangerous duo to put together in the middle lane, especially this early in the race. If they can get a rhythm going, they are going to push the heck out of each other for the rest of it. Matthew Fritz, that third car in the middle. 17 of Brian Anderson has fallen to the pusher, and he is pushing Robert Jordan. And Robert Jordan, heck of a run right now. Like I said, up 25 spots. The driver out of Winsboro, Texas, on Team Max Speed TV, and he's looking for a couple teammates right now. I was wondering where Paul Witt, Xander Short are at, and they are not in this chaos right now. They have fallen back a bit. And actually, let's take a look at where your pole sitter has moved back to, if we can. It's so crazy up here. I'm a little bit scared to go back. Looks like Xander Short, one of those Max Speed TV drivers, currently sitting 25th, down a couple spots from where, down quite a few spots from where he started. Paul Witt, 17th. But these guys were just wanting to get the heck out of the way right now. They see all this action. They don't want any part of it. Robert Dubendak was able to drop to the bottom. Chris Akers now also going to be able to do the same. That opens up to Matthew Fritz in the middle. But here comes the top lane. The 90 gets clear again. John Lynch in the Spino truck. Will he drop to the middle this time? He tries. He hesitates. And it looks like now he finally does. Kenneth Riedinger probably needed some air for that truck. He had been pushing the 90 for quite a while and pretty hard too. He is finally going to get that much needed air. Still 3x3, but now that outside has lost a couple of its big pushers. It's starting to fade now. Kenneth Riedinger's looking to pair back up with James Scaramore Della, but I don't know if they're going to have enough time before they get too far back. It is going to be 9 laps to go once we cross the checkered flag this time before the end of stage 2. The 48, Matthew Fritz, all over the back bumper of the 90. I think what concerns me most about what I see right there, when these guys start snaking around on the back bumper of that truck in front of them, the closer you are when you do that, the more risk you have of accidentally hooking that guy. It does not take much in these trucks. Just as I say that, here goes Matthew Fritz in the top lane, going to get help from Randy Bonomi. And Matthew Fritz thought maybe he'd be able to get clear of the 90 a little quicker. Not the case. Randy Bonomi tried to push him all the way up there. And those are two Hickox Racing teammates. And they're looking for their third tandem partner of Joey Hickox. And Joey may have jumped out of this pack as well because I'm not seeing him. It looks like he is 23rd. And it doesn't look like he's jumped out of the pack, but he is definitely fallen right now. Some of these guys, I think when they saw the 3 wide, they backed off a little bit. It's kind of a weird way it gets set up. You see the whole field 3 wide, you back up, you see him go 2 wide. You start to back up. And then all of a sudden, as soon as you go back up there, they're back to 3 wide again. Really weird how it works, but it looks like up front now we're going to see about a 5 truck single file line. They're going to see if they can break away. Not really something you can do in these trucks. But what they can do is maybe try to draw the rest of this pack to get down in line, but it looks like the 75 of William McKellar wants no part of it as he jumps right to the outside, gets a little bit of a side draft off of John Lynch. 17 of Brian Anderson giving him a big push through the turn here. Not going to get on his bumper just yet. He's going to ride really close. As soon as they get off the turn, this is where he links up, and he's going to try to tandem him all the way down the short chute. Fortunately here at Talladega, you can't push through the tri-oval. That's maybe the worst place to do it, maybe even worse than the turns. And that is because there is just really not any downforce. Sorry, not any downforce, but it's just too bumpy. The trucks really unload in that tri-oval. In terms of real life, kind of similar in the game, but a little different because in real life, a lot of the drivers will say the turns, that's where the trucks have the most load on them. And they actually handle a little bit more stable than they do on the straightaway. But with these NASCAR trucks, here on iRacing, you really can't push in the turns unless you do it absolutely perfect. And we might see a couple teammates thinking about trying it later. But a couple guys who I don't believe are teammates, but are working really well together right now is going to be Robert Dubendak and Chris Akers. And I don't think they're thinking about passing each other just yet because they are pushing so well. Chris Akers kind of always been known as one of the best pushers in the league, but when he's out in front, he can do just as much of a job at it. And here we go. We're going to see the 24 and the 19. That's Kenneth Riedinger and Justin Parham. We saw these two battling it out at Kentucky. Kenneth Riedinger got the best to Justin Parham then. But here tonight, we'll see if they can work together, and maybe Justin Parham can change that around a little bit. The 2, Matthew Dyer has a choice. Will he jump to the top? It looks like he doesn't. He's going to stay in that middle line. And now he is going to be stuck down there 3x3 down the backstretch. Up front, the only person that's safe right now is going to be that leader of William McKellar. But he had to get up there by taking a risk. He jumped to the outside. Here he is. And we have not went through the field for anybody that's wondering because the action has been so insane up here. I'm too worried we're going to miss something. Chris Akers going to jump to the outside of the 75. Robert Duvenak going to follow. Here comes Kenneth Riedinger, though, on the top with Justin Parham. 74 Robert Jordan has got back to the 75. Oh, they look 4 wide for just a second. Quickly get back down to 3, though. Brian Anderson in the middle with a push from Matthew Dyer up top. Kenneth Riedinger, Justin Parham has a big run. Does the 24 think about taking it? I think he's going to try to stick with this 19 at least as long as he can down the backstretch. And they are still 3x3 really snaking around. It looks like they've gotten a little bit better since the drop of the green. As each lap ticks by, I think everybody starts to get a little bit more comfortable with each other. Don't look now, but Joey Hickox, that last truck in the middle line, he is ready to get back in the action because here he is back up in the middle of this main pack. But Chris Akers still leading the way. It's going to be 4 laps to go until the stage break. This time, the tri-oval is the scariest part of the track. There's a big bump right in the middle. And every time these guys go by, I watch all the trucks hit it. Oh, we got one on the apron, the 75, William McKellar. Can everybody else hold on? Oh, it looks like they're making more contact. Joey Hickox got into the door of somebody and somehow holds on to it. But it's not over yet. Everybody's got to be careful here. Everybody's checking up. It looks like we're going to keep this together. Yeah, everybody's going to stay green up front. They're still 3 wide. Let's see if we can try to take a look at this real quick. We're going to take the risk at it. A lot of times when I do this, they choose to wreck. But here we go. Let's see what happened here. This happens getting into turn 1. We're going to look at Joey Hickox here in the 31 for Hickox Racing. This didn't start with him, but he's going to get involved in it. There you go, the 75, William McKellar, big checkup. He had to jump to the apron. He was worried about there being contact, and it looks like the 74, Robert Jordan, fine right now. Let's see, is it going to be the 90? It looks like, oh, the 74 is coming up the track. Oh, wow, and that's actually netcode between the 90 of John Lynch and Joey Hickox. But, wow, they make contact. Joey gets into the 74 a couple times, but that might have been a lot better than what looked like it may have been the outcome. Joey gets up. Guy Braco does a nice job of not making contact, and Joey holds on to that thing somehow. We have seen some magnificent saves tonight. And Joey Hickox just adds himself to that board. Watch his hands here on the left side if you can see him. Wow, just that little quick movement was all he needed. Let's go back live now. Up front, looks like Joey has fallen off that draft. It's all right. He's going to be getting a caution here in just a couple laps. Granted, we can make it there. It looks like Brian Anderson's going to get, oh, the 2. Another, does he hold on to it? He does again. Matthew Dyer, he makes an incredible save. Boy, what is going on right now? That one looked even closer than the contact with Joey Hickox. I actually saw the back 2 tires come off the ground for the 2 truck, and somehow he saves it. And you see it split into 2 packs now. That second pack, I don't know if they have enough time to track down this main pack before the stage break. Kenneth Riedinger still in charge out front, but on the bottom it's Chris Akers and Robert Duvendak. Justin Parham has decided not to leave the 19 of Justin Parham just yet, and as they work their way out of turn 4, that outside looks to be the place to be as we will make our way to the stage break. It's going to be 2 laps to go. Caution should be flying at the end of 45, I would assume, so it should be at the beginning of 46. Kenneth Riedinger would have won it if that was the end of the stage break, but it's not. That second pack still trying to crawl him in. They may have this lap and one more to do it. And the 90 of John Lynch still up here after that contact he made with Joey Hickox. And I think we need a caution here shortly to catch our breath because these guys have been on the verge of disaster for about the last 5 laps. Somehow they've managed to hold on to it just about every time. Paul Witt has got back up in this main pack in the action. We'll see if he tries to do anything. Looks like he might be the only Max Speed TV driver up here, though, right now. And if you don't have teammates, you're not going to be able to go anywhere unless someone else chooses to go with you. And I think we will see maybe a 3rd lane here before the end of the stage. Everybody's still saying 2x2 right now. Should be the white flag lap, though, for stage 2. Here we go. Chris Akers still on the bottom. Kenneth Riedinger up top. That second pack not going to be a factor. Chris Akers, does he think about jumping to the top to block the run, or does he stick with the pusher that's been with him so long in the stage? Robert Duvendak And what does the 90 of John Lynch think? Does he try to jump to the top? And if he does Matthew Dyer follow him? Brian Anderson just made his way to the top lane. He might be thinking 3 wide as they make their way out of 4. But into turn, there he goes. Brian Anderson jumps up top. Looks like he's going to get a couple people to follow. Matthew Dyer, James Scamordella. But here we go, out of turn 4 for the final time in stage 2. Big momentum now on the outside. Can Chris Akers hold it off? And they are still side by side coming out of the travel. One more push on the outside, and it looks like Kenneth Riedinger is going to win stage 2. And that was a heck of a finish. Holy moly, these guys giving me a little bit more than I can handle up here right now in the booth, but it's going to go to Kenneth Riedinger. How about it? Unless scoring got mistaked here. Now let's watch that finish one more time real quick because it was a pretty darn good one. This was at the line. Watch just how close this gets. And just like that, Kenneth Riedinger barely squeaks it out right across the line. Let's go back live and go over your top 10 for the stage. It is going to be Kenneth Riedinger, as we just talked about, winning the stage. Second is going to be Chris Akers. Third, Justin Parham. Fourth, Robert Duvendak. Fifth, John Lynch. Sixth, John Bell. Seventh, Matthew Fritz. Eighth, Brian Anderson. Ninth, Randy Bonomi. 10th, Paul Witt. James Scamordella just fell outside of that top 10. Paul Witt, by the way, your pole sitter, trying to stay up inside the top 10 most of the night. Has not led the most laps, though, surprisingly enough. Kenneth Riedinger up 2 spots from where he started. And I'll tell you what, while these guys are getting situated, getting their pit stops in, we are going to take a break. And when we come back, we will have an interview from your stage winner. Stick with us as we go Ghost Racing Network side by side. Here we go. And welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway. I'll tell you what, unfortunately, we couldn't find Kenneth Riedinger anywhere in the Discord, who was your Stage 2 winner, but we did find who's been one of the best pushers so far tonight, and that is Mr. Robert Duvendak. Robert, you got a copy?
Yes, sir. How you doing tonight?
I'm good, man. Well, I'll tell you what, you look even better because you and Chris Akers, when you guys were linked up, you looked like potentially the fastest duo out here. The only other duo that looked like they were really sticking it to you guys right now was that 2-tandem truck draft of Justin Parham and Kenneth Riedinger. What are you guys going to have to do to beat them?
Yeah, they're probably 2 of the best in the league as well, so I knew we had our work cut out for us there, and I was able to cool the truck down there with about a lap and a half before the stage ended, but coming through the tri-oval on that final lap there, Chris bobbled a little bit, and I checked up, and I want to spin him, and I think that kind of cost it there, but hey, top 5 for any stage is good. That's a lot of points for the season, and I missed the race earlier this year, so I need as many points as possible right now.
All right, well, a couple more questions I want to ask you. The first one is, it looks like you got a little bit of damage to the left side of that truck. Has that been affecting you at all in the draft, or is that thing still pretty fast?
No, I had about 12 seconds, and there was a huge checkup before the first stage there, with like 2 to go, I think, and it caused Joey to jump up high a little bit, and I wasn't ready for it, and I kind of clipped him a little bit. But 12 second, not too bad with these trucks. These trucks suck up pretty good, so it's still a hot rod. So we'll see what we can do with it.
All right, and the last thing I want to ask you before I let you go here is, I don't believe, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I don't believe you and Chris Akers are official teammates. Are you guys thinking about sticking together the rest of this race? As good have you been linking up? Or are you going to secretly have to leave him at the end of this thing?
Me and Chris always work well together. We've run in a lot of leagues and a lot of races together, and he's probably one of the few I could put on my one hand where I can trust to push full throttle, go 120% and be okay with. So anytime we're around each other, we always get together, we stay together, and we just, we'll settle for whatever we can get together. And when it comes time for the win, it's every man for themselves, right? Kind of how we saw the championship end last season.
Absolutely. Got to do what you got to do to win, especially at these plate tracks. Well, good luck, and hopefully we're talking to you at the end of this thing.
Yeah, I hope so. Just hoping to survive and get a top 10. That's all my goal is. So.
All right. That is Robert Duvendak, who is going to be leading him to green, and we will be right back as we're going to put him down to his Discord here. And there we go. That was Robert Duvendak, and that might have been one of the most calmest, best in-race interviews that I've heard in a while. He sounded like he's ready to go out and do another 44 laps, and that's going to be the case. So hopefully he's ready to go. Robert Duvendak, Chris Akers, you heard him. They're working well together. He really trusts that Ford truck, even though they're not official teammates. They said that duo, the 19 Justin Parham, Kenneth Riedinger, your Stage 2 winner, they looked really dangerous. Paul Witt, another fast guy out here tonight, did win Stage 1. That stage did end under caution. Couple quick chats before we go back green. Looks like Bryce, of course, the owner of Ghost Racing Network, out here entertaining you guys in the chat. Hopefully I'm keeping you somewhat entertained out here on track. Nancy Hickok says, good driving tonight, Austin. You keep it exciting. Good try, Chris Akers. And Bryce is over here taunting me having spring break this week. And unfortunately, I don't have mine till next week. So not this coming Monday, but next. But we're getting excited for it. Even more excited, though, is me for this restart. Here we go. We'll see. Track position slowly starting to become more important as we are not going to see any more scheduled cautions for the rest of this race. We are over halfway as well, so some of the drivers starting to get a little bit more antsy, wanting to gain positions as quick as possible. But we'll see if Robert Duvendak can hold them off. Green flag back in the air at Talladega. And here we go. I think this is some not team coordination, but driver coordination, as Robert Duvendak did not get a great restart. Is he going to let Chris Akers down? He is. But Chris Akers, I think, is trying to pull another truck with them, and that 5 is going to slide right down in front. That is John Bell in the 88. Clay Cantrell is going to lead the top lane. He is waiting for some help from James Scamordella in the 79. We're going to have one truck drop out. Oh, that is Robert Duvendak. I'm not sure. Maybe Robert just wanted to drop to the back all of a sudden. But a little surprised to see that 99 who we just saw starting in the lead. Maybe he just wants to save some fuel, or he thinks these guys are going to get crazy aggressive. Not sure. But up front, Chris Akers leads the way. John Bell second. John Lynch third. Clay Cantrell fourth, and Randy Bonomi fifth. But it looks like John Bell wants no part of staying in line either. He is going to jump to the outside, but they're going to split him. 3 wide goes the 88 of Clay Cantrell. And the 90 of John Lynch, the birthday man tonight. We'll see if he could somehow pull off a win. That'd be a pretty sweet birthday present. Randy Bonomi, one of the Hickox racing drivers. He's looking for a couple teammates right now, but he's going to have to look maybe a little bit farther than he would like. Joey Hickox getting split 3 wide right now on the outside. Matthew Fritz, though, just behind Joey on the inside. Probably would let him in if he needed to, but it looks like Joey was able to find a spot on that outside line. Chris Akers still leading up front for that two-truck tandem, rather. The 5 of John Bell and Clay Cantrell, they're looking really speedy on that top lane. The momentum usually prefers that top side below the bottom, but the bottom seems to be the safer place to be, especially as things get crazier. When you get 3 wide, I think that bottom is where you want to be. Those top 2 lanes, though, are going to try to side draft the heck out of that bottom. James Scamordella jumps to the top. He's looking to go 3 wide. The 88's going to see if he can block it. kind of diminishes to nothing as Joey Hickox wasn't able to get there in time. It looks like James is going to jump back down in line right in front of, I can't tell who that is. I believe that might be Albert Hewins. And I think it is. How about Albert Hewins? Up 14 spots from where he started in the 55. And we haven't said anything about him tonight. Just going to shout out there. Wiley Cantrell had an up and down night, but right now he's on an upward trend back up here in this main pack, having a chance to fight for the lead if he chooses. Let's look at some of the speeds these drivers are running here in the pack. 185 making their way into this trial. That'll pick up a little bit faster. Entering turn 3, I would say. Oh, we got one sliding to 2. Oh, big hit. That is going to be Matthew Dyer. Caution is out. The 2 was sliding back up the track, and he made pretty heavy contact with another driver. I couldn't exactly tell who it is, but it looks like he may have to tow. No, he gets it rolling again. Well, let's see what happened. It might have been Russ Kilgore. No, actually, that was not who he made the heavy contact with. It looks like it was actually the 9 of TJ. Let's see how this initially started. We were taking a look back in the field, and sure enough, they did that thing where they wreck as I'm not watching it. But let's see what happens to Matthew Dyer here. This is coming into the trial oval. So far, so good. Is it going to be a... Oh, wow. That looked odd. I'm not sure if he got a tap or what. Let's look at this from the chopper view. And that was really odd looking. So you see the 2 here right in front of the 31 of Joey Hickox behind Albert Hewins. He kind of burps the throttle. Oh, and it looks like Joey not quite able to check up in time. So that's what that truck jumped around so much for. Watch this one more time right here. You see there's a little bit of a checkup either way. Didn't look that bad, but either way, the 2 is just, he's getting out of gas, backfire. When you're going this fast, it's hard to just get slowed up. Joey wasn't quite able to get slowed up. The 2 is trying everything to hold on to it, but when he's sliding back down, him and Joey Hickox make more contact. The 2 slides down there. Right here, there's going to be some more significant contact. Back up the track. Well, that is a big hit. That is going to be Russ Kilgore and the 9 as well of TJ. And just not a lot of time to react there. Watch this from the cockpit view. He could have had it locked up, but I don't think it was going to matter. He just truck did one of those things where as soon as it went down, it slid right back up into traffic. One of the things these guys didn't want to see. Watch this. Boom. Boom. There's 2 more big shots. That is guaranteedly going to be a fast pair for the 2, and it looks like Russ Kilgore has smoke coming out the back as well. So that will be a fast pair for him. Also, let's look at this from a couple other views. Here goes the 2, jumps him out of line. Wow, how did the 47 not hit him? Are you kidding me, Sam Boutwell? Wow, that was impressive. One more shot of it here. The TV view, TV2. Turns him around right here. Just slides right back up on the track. And boy, the 28 Russ Kilgore, nowhere to go. Big, big impact. Watch it from his perspective here. Was probably thinking he'd sneak by here, and then all of a sudden, there it was right in front of him. Yeah, he sees it right here, and he's going to gas it up, trying to get by. Boom. Big shot. I do want to ride on board here with Sam Boutwell, as he also did a masterful job of getting through this. Watch from the cockpit view, actually. Watch his hands. Let's see if he burps it. Oh my goodness. It does not get any closer than that. Sure enough, but you heard it. Sam Boutwell, he saw the 2 spinning. He didn't stay on the throttle. He made sure to let off just in case. What happened happened. It did happen, and he was able to check up just enough for the 2 to squeak by, and then he was able to drive right on through. This is going to shake up the top 5 a little bit, as John Lynch is going to be your current leader. Jeff Carl 2nd, Chris Akers 3rd, Randy Bonomi 4th, and Clay Cantrell rounding out the top 5. Looks like Nancy Hickox is in the chat telling Bryce to go to bed. The 25. Looks like, not sure if he's getting a, no, he's not getting a push from Chris Akers. I thought he was for a second. Let's see how some of these guys are doing that are a lap down. Yep, that is going to be DJ Madish, who is currently 2 laps down. Not sure if he'll get one back here or not, or if he already did. Russ Kilgore, that might be the end for his night, because remember, he was involved in an incident earlier. Yep, and that is sure enough going to be the case. Russ Kilgore has retired from the race. Hate to see that. for the driver of the 28 truck. Had a good recovery after an incident earlier that couldn't really help, and sometimes that's just the nature of the beast here. These plate tracks. Sam Boutwell comes into pit, and that might just be to get a breather after he had a very scary near miss. Nancy Hickok says, Austin, this is why Robert Duvendak went to the back. He wants to be there at the end. And I completely agree. We know just how good of a driver Robert Duvendak is. He realized there's no point in being there at the front now if you're just going to get taken out anyway. Drop to the back, save yourself some fuel. You can make time on all the rest of the field if you just are there and have a good pit stop. So you really don't need to worry about any sense of urgency until you get closer to that pit stop window. These guys still not going to be able to make it all the way to the end as it goes right now. They are going to have to pit. Each caution we see is going to shake up the fuel strategy a little bit more. And while we are under caution again here, let everybody know where Ghost Racing Network is going to head next. And that is going to be on Monday. We head back over to the Fast Track Sim Racing Cup Series presented by the Alloy Wheel Repair Specialist. We continue the West Coast swing at Las Vegas for the Las Vegas Spring 200. Green flag at 9 p.m. Eastern. We had a thriller of a finish last week in Auto Club. Alan Pajari barely squeaked it out. We saw Tyler Marble give it everything he has. So don't miss out. If you're just here for NOMA, I'm sure we probably won't see you there, but if you're one of the people that are here watching, in general, we just like to let you know where we're at next in case you want to check in. Back live, though, here at Talladega Superspeedway. Lights are off. That means we're going green this time. It is going to be John Lynch and Jeff Carl in row 1. Clay Cantrell, Randy Bonomi, row 2. And I believe this is the highest we have seen a Hickox Racing driver start so far. And I'll tell you what, I keep wanting to say Hickox Motorsports. But Joey made sure to let me know it's Hickox Racing, so we got to make sure we don't slip on that. Pace truck is going to pull off. We are ready to go back green. We have ran 55, what's going to be 56 now, laps so far tonight. Race slowly starting to get a little bit more aggressive. The 3 wide is just going to get more and more usual and casual from this point on. But green flag is back out. And it is going to be just under 40 laps left to go here at Talladega. The 90 of John Lynch got a pretty good restart that time on the outside. The 88, Clay Cantrell, is already on the back bumper of Jeff Carl. Jeff Carl for Lucky Dog Racing. Here he is, up battling for the lead. Lucky Dog Racing would love to put a driver in victory lane here tonight at Talladega. And this might be their best shot at it. I think there's 2 strategies split down the middle right now. We know Robert Duvendak, which one he's running. That is stay in the back, stay out of the way. And it looks like Chris Akers has decided to join him on that strategy. But I think the other strategy is go to the front. And that looks like exactly what the 98 Jeff Carl's trying to do. And he, sure enough, is able to take the lead right in front of the 88. To the outside, here comes the 75 of William McKellar. And it looks like the 75, William McKellar, is going to lead that lap. Paul Witt looks like he is ready to take back the lead. Does he try to dive down and beat the 75 to it, or does he stay up top and drag him? And if he wanted to go low, he lost his chance now. Max Speed TV driver is going to have to stay up top of the 75. The 17 of Brian Anderson is up there as well. And the 43 of Robert E. Morrison, I don't believe he's used his fast repair yet. And since that truck's already damaged, he knows he might as well go for it right now. That way, if he does get in a wreck, at least he had some track position. He'll use that fast repair and get right back in it. He's going to have some help, though, from the 2 of Matthew Dyer. I tell you what, one of the most aggravating things that, one of those things that just happens you can't help is when you're out there with a truck that has the perfect amount of damage where it can stay up in the pack as long as you have someone behind you, but if you don't have someone behind you, it fades. And that kind of looked like the case for Robert Morrison, as he is going to get some help, though, so he should be able to stay back up here. But we saw him fade when he didn't have anybody behind him. Just below is the 37 of Joseph Fogg, who we saw get turned while he was leading earlier by Robert E. Morrison. So maybe a little bit of not so friendly thinking right now between those two, but both professional drivers, and they're going to make sure they make it work, especially if they have to work together somehow at the end of this thing. The 75, William McKellar, was able to drop low. That opens it up to Paul Witt on the outside. Your pole sitter still looking strong tonight. Hasn't had to use his fast repair yet. Brian Anderson didn't hear much about him early, but after I talked about him initially, I have not been able to stop talking about the driver, the 17 Flex Tape Chevy Silverado. And Randy Bonomi, looks like they were thinking about going 3 wide for a second. But what just happened to this inside line? William McKellar fell way back. Randy Bonomi dropped low. And Paul Witt got clear by about 3 or 4 truck lengths. Thought maybe he'd drop low and bring the 17 with him, but it looks like they're getting to that point in the race where it's no longer take the lead and drop to the bottom, but more or less, which lane do you feel more comfortable with? Who do you want as your pusher? With that 66 having a little bit of damage, just a matter of time for the... Oh, he makes contact! The 66 is around. Does everyone else make it through? I heard heavy contact. Randy Bonomi, oh, big hit into the inside wall, it looks like. Caution is out. I believe Randy was the only driver involved, thankfully, but very unfortunate for the Hickox Racing driver. Let's see the damage on this thing. Oh, on the left side, banged up. Maybe he didn't quite hit it square on the front, so it looks like the front end's clean. But let's go take a look at it. You saw him get turned. Back this up a little bit more to where this starts. And then it looks like the 75, William McKellar, nothing intentional here. Let's watch the push. Is it just going to be a little bit of a bad shove? Oh, I know what this is going to be. It's going to be actually, no, it's going to be contact from the 5. Oh, wow, that's what got him wicked sideways. I mean, when they touched, it absolutely jerked the 66 to the right and then back to the left. And now he's sliding. He's going to lock it down here pretty quick. And now he's backwards. This is kind of a bad position to be in. He's trying to let it roll. Unfortunately, though, that's going to cause it to roll backwards. Oh, yeah, that's still a pretty big hit in the back end. That's going to cost him some time on pit road. Let's look at this from the chopper view. It looks like the 5 was just creeping down, and I'll explain to you here in just a moment a little bit more of what exactly just happened. If you're wondering why the 5 of John Bell came down so far, it wasn't as simple as him just not holding the line. So let's play this slow before we watch the 5 of John Bell. Is it going to be a checkup, or is this going to be one of those things where it's kind of like a tunnel vision? It looks like they're holding right now, but right here, at 17 and the 429, Paul Witt and Brian Anderson, they start to kind of go low right here. And this is, yep, so this is what it's looking like. So notice, we'll back this up one more time for you. I want you to notice right here how the 2 trucks, the 429, the 17, they start to drop low here. I think they were finally about to drop to the bottom. And what's going to happen, and we'll look from the cockpit view here of John Bell, as he is looking, he's kind of got that tunnel vision that you get when you're really trying to push a guy or just follow a guy. And John Bell was doing exactly that. And watch how he just kind of coasts down with them. It's nothing super aggressive, but he'll just kind of follow these 2 trucks down. And when you do that, he kind of maybe just forgets for just a split second that he has a truck, the 66, Randy Bonomi, to his inside. And then right here, they're going to make that little bit of contact. Boom. There it is. The 66, Randy Bonomi, got it locked down, but unfortunately he's not going to be able to hold on to it at this point. Big impact for the rear end. We'll take one more view of it. Down the backstretch here, they got a pretty big run. You'll see it. This should give you a pretty good idea of it here. Watch the contact, though, how it just jerks the 66. Boom, to the right, and then to the left, locks it down. Pretty big, significant wall contact. That might be a fast pair for Randy Bonomi. Let's go back live, though. Let's see if this thing's going to work now. It's not, so we'll continue to do it the manual way tonight. Your current leader is going to be Paul Witt in first. Second, Brian Anderson. Third, William McKellar. Fourth, James Scamordella. Rounding out the top 5 is the 88 truck of Clay Cantrell, who's been having a pretty solid night so far. See how some of these guys are doing further back. We know that Russ Kilgore did retire early. After 2 incidents, he used his fast pair, got involved again, and that did end his night. DJ Maddish is currently in the pits, and he has just kind of been scrambling to get back on the lead lap since he initially had fallen 2 laps down. Justin Parham currently the last truck, it looks like, on the lead lap. But the good news for DJ Maddish is he did get 1 lap back during that last caution. And hoping no one goes another lap down, DJ Maddish may be back in contention for this thing in 1 more caution if we were to get one. 61 of 94 laps completed so far. We are almost within the final 30 laps here at Talladega. And that is when action will start to really pick up. maybe more towards, I think I would say maybe more towards 15 laps to go is when we'll really see these guys start getting even more crazy than they've been so far. And we thank everybody for coming out on a Saturday night. Hope everybody's doing well. Wishing the best right now to Ed, who didn't make it tonight, dealing with personal issues. Out of respect for him, we're not going to talk about anything further than that, but just keep him in your prayers. The lights are off on the pace truck. That means we will be going green this time around. Again, a pit stop still is in play, but now we are at the point where it should, yep, sure enough, it is going to be just one more pit stop, even if we were to go green. And I think if I'm one of these teams that's been pretty dominant so far tonight, as we see Xander Short getting back up there, and that might be because he wants to be with his teammate when they pit. You got to have people with you when you decide to pit. You don't want to go by yourself. Honestly, I'm not a fan of going with the big groups either. I think the best strategy here, and maybe the winning strategy, if we were to go green the rest of the way, is going to be pit as soon as that fuel window opens. And these guys should be able to go somewhere around 20-ish laps on fuel. And I think you want to go as soon as the fuel window opens here. Get yourself away from the rest of that pack. And not only does that maybe let you run a little faster being with your teammates, knowing how they run, but also you're going to start drawing the rest of the field down pit road. And once everybody pits and cycles out, the chance for the caution usually tends to decrease as we'll drop a couple trucks off the pack from penalties and mistakes. That is what we would call thinning the herd. Paul Witt, though, looks like he's ready to go. Up top, Brian Anderson on the bottom. And for this restart, let's take a ride on board with the pusher for Paul Witt, and that is going to be the 79 of James Scamordella. And here we go. We're going to go to, actually, let's go to the roll bar view. You'll see just how quickly he has to link up and push for them to make progress. Watch the gears here. You see that they start in second. Some guys choose to start in first. We'll note that for later. But here we go. Green flag back in the air. There goes James Scamordella accelerating up to speed. See how quickly can he get up to the 429's bumper. It actually sounds like he's burping the throttle a little bit. I'm not 100% sure what that was about. With the 429, Paul Witt's going to drop low before he gets there. Ooh, he tries to get a side draft off of Brian Anderson. It looks like it works. And now it's going to be who's going to push him the best. Jeff Carl not on the bumper of the 79, and you see it, that outside line not making up any time because of that. Here comes the field diving into turn 3, still 2x2. A lot of trucks still in the field. Thankfully, we've only had one truck retire so far tonight. That means these guys have a chance to put on some great racing at the end of this thing. 4-truck breakaway up front in terms of single file at least. Jeff Carl and the 79 of James Scamordella, they just were not able to link up at all. Paul Witt thankfully was able to drop to the bottom before Brian Anderson was able to get side by side with him, because he would have fallen back quite a few positions by now. Up top though, it looks like the 88 and the 90 are going to jump up to try to lead that line to the front. And I think right now I would be sitting in the back looking for a caution and saving fuel. That way if we don't get one, I can take less than the rest of these guys. We are seeing that strategy from some of the heavy hitters that we have seen it throughout this race. Kenneth Riedinger, Joey Hickok's back here as well. How about Robert Duvendak, Guy Braco, and there's Chris Akers. And how about Justin Perham sitting back 20 spots down from where he started. But again, this is just all part of that strategy of avoiding the big one and staying back at least until these pit stops. We won't see any pit stops till at least, I would say, lap 74-ish is when that fuel window should open. That's when we might start to see some of these drivers pit. Potentially a lap or two earlier than that. That seems to be playing it a little conservative. We are under 30 laps here to go at Talladega. And what better time to do a NOMA Crank It Up, presented by Manny Ray. Here we go. And that is going to do it for tonight's segment of Crank It Up. I hope everybody did enjoy that. Paul Witt still leads Brian Anderson. Clay Cantrell third, first truck on that outside line. He is getting a push from John Lynch right now. And actually, thought maybe that was James Scamordella. Yep, sure enough it is. Third truck on that outside is James Scamordella. He just really hasn't been getting to the back bumper of these two trucks. Ooh, the 90 got really out of shape for a second. Not sure what that was all about, but he keeps it together. And there's Xander Short, fourth truck on the inside. He's still trying to creep his way up to his teammate. But I think now he's in a position where he could stay there, and they would be able to pit together and come out together, bearing no mistakes. And we didn't have a chance. We saw some pit stops early. Very clean, good pit stops by all these guys, but we haven't had a chance to talk about it since then. This is now going to be the money stop. You can't mess up anymore. If you make any mistake, getting in the grass, locking up, speeding, making contact with another truck, anything, even taking the wrong things, a little bit more fuel than you need here, your race could be over. And I know some people are saying, well, you could get a caution. Yes, but you don't want to bank on a caution. And if you do have one, how much nicer would it be to know you have the track position because you executed earlier on your pit stop? We saw Paul Witt, one of the guys that led him down the pit road last time. We'll see if he can do the same this time. The 17 of Brian Anderson has impressed me maybe the most out of the field so far tonight, up 20 spots from where he started. The only limitless driver in the field tonight, doesn't have his teammate Cody Nagels in here. And we saw 3 wide further back. That gets that outside line really disorganized, and they're going to fall if they can't get it back together. Wiley Cantrell is trying to get back up there right now. We see 3 wide. That's the 47 of Sam Boutwell, who had an excellent avoidance. We'll call it a save, but it was pretty much a wreck avoidance earlier. Somehow didn't hit a spinning Matthew Dyer that was coming across the tri-oval. And that's why you still see him up here right now. Paul Witt, though, still leading the way. The 88 and the 90, John Lynch, they have both been able to maintain their ground with only 2 trucks. But that ground will slowly fade if they can't get help. And just as I say that, Matthew Dyer has arrived on the scene. And we are coming across lap 70 of 94. And now you see it, 25 laps to go here at Talladega. Pit stop should be coming within the next, I'd say, 5 laps. But 25 to go. These guys know it. Their spotters are letting them know it is starting to be go time. If you are here towards the back, I know you're playing it safe. But with as organized as they are looking up there, I don't think I want to be forced to make my pit stop this far back from the field. That's a pretty decent amount of time between where the leader is and drivers such as Chris Akers are running. You'll see it on your scoring tower. Looks like it's over 2 seconds for some of these guys. That's a lot of time on pit road to have to try to make up. But getting on pit road, what's your strategy? Do you go with your team? Do you go with someone that you've worked well with tonight? Some guys are going to try to go with the bigger groups. Some guys are going to try to do everything they can to avoid the bigger groups. Xander Short in the 12 truck trying to go with his teammate Paul Witt, I would assume. And that's 75. William McKellar is another Max Speed TV driver, I do believe. Yep, sure enough. So that actually puts 3 of the Max Speed TV drivers in the top 5 as it stands right now. Brian Anderson with no teammates tonight. You got to think maybe he tries to pit with the Max Speed TV crew. And let's see how the back of this pack is looking. Russ Kilgore, we saw retire. DJ Madish, only a lap down right now. He is just sitting back here making sure if they somehow wreck, he avoids it. He doesn't really care as much where he comes out of his pit stop right now because he knows he's going to need a caution to have a chance at the end. Anyway, I may have saw some pit stops further back. No, it looks like somebody had just dived off on the apron for a second. And I was going to say, that seems like a little early. You want to make sure you have enough in case this thing happens to go into overtime. You don't want to have to pit with 2 laps to go because that is going to be too much time and too much ground to try to make up. And it looks like right now we have a decent mix of trucks in the field tonight. A lot of times we see these races kind of dominated by the Chevys. We'll pull up your car logo on the tower. You see it there. Very good mix. Actually, more Toyotas and Fords in the top 10 than there are Chevys. But as you go back in the field, those Chevys start to take over, and we see more Chevys 11th through 30th than we see Toyotas or Fords. But manufacturer pitting isn't going to be the case here in the NOMA Truck Series. NOMA does have a Super Speedway series that you can catch on Mondays over at Max Speed TV. And these guys put on just as good of a show as they do here. The difference is a lot of the drivers in here, remember, they don't just run super speedways. They run all tracks. So some of these guys that come here, they're not as used to super speedways as some of the others. This does give benefits to drivers such as Chris Akers, Robert Duvendak, and a handful of other ones that are also in that super speedway series. They have a leg up on the rest of the competition. They can push a little bit more aggressive, push in certain areas that maybe other guys can't. And the 88 has gotten it clear a couple times. Looks like he is finally going to take it. That's Clay Cantrell. And we have not seen the whole field start lining up just yet. That will usually be your signal that pit stops are getting ready to happen in the next lap or two. And fuel window should be opening somewhere around 20 laps to go. Give or take a couple laps. Again, don't have the exact fuel window. We just know these guys had 70% fuel. Also, at this point in the race, do you take the risk if you have a damaged truck? Do you take that fast repair when you go into pits in case it goes green the rest of the way? You're going to need as much speed out of that truck as you can get. Or do you not take it and hope maybe get a caution and use it then? Side-by-side racing still at the front as John Lynch is trying to take the lead. He's got Matthew Dyer pushing him. Brian Anderson third on the bottom. And how about the recovery from Wiley Cantrell, up 5 spots from where he started. Sam Boutwell right now down 1 spot from where he started, running 10th. Albert Hewins 11th, Randy Bonomi 12th, Guy Braco 13th, Joseph Fogg 14th. And your last truck in the top 15 right now is going to be TJ. Joey Hickox just outside the top 15. And he has his teammate Matthew Fritz behind him. And they're going to stay where they're at right now. They would like to get Randy Bonomi up with them. Randy did have a little bit of troubles as he was what brought out the last caution. He is a handful of spots ahead of his teammates right now, up in 12th, just outside the top 10. But they're close enough where even if they all pit, they should be able to come out relatively together. Still haven't seen everybody get single file, but we have seen a lot more of them. Yeah, you see it now. Look how long the line is. And we are going to go to TV3 now, get a wide angle. Look at that. Everybody getting in line except for, I'd say, maybe the top 15. They're still racing it out. But pit stops are knocking on the door, and here we go. We're going to see our first round. It looks like it might be Hickox Motorsports. Can they all get in cleanly? Oh, I see a couple lockups. Oh, this was tight. Looks like the 25 did have to go back out on track. We had a couple people maybe even hit the wall, so not everybody got in cleanly. That looks like the 5 of John Bell that had a little bit of troubles. Randy Bonomi gets in the cleanest. Joey Hickox is in. Matthew Fritz. The 4, Chris Akers, 99, Robert Duvendak. The 24, Kenneth Riedinger, and the 19 of Justin Parham. And this is that early pit stop strategy, and I think this one might be the winning strategy as they're going to try to get out and get ahead of everybody else. Looks like the race out is going to go to Randy Bonomi and Joey Hickox. 2 teammates going to be able to link up, and let's go up front to the rest of the pack to see if they're deciding to pit this time. Here they come off turn 4, being led by Clay Cantrell. Will anybody dive down this time? No, looks like they're going to stay out. We'll see if they try to play the long game on the rest of the pack. And we'll have to watch the lap times if they do decide to continue to stay out. And I think the strategy is still a good play right now, even if you are up front doing this, because they'll have a little bit extra in case we were to go into overtime. They wouldn't have to worry about pitting where that group that pitted early may have to. But with 18 laps to go, you got to start thinking about getting in line to get ready for pit stops. You don't want to be stranded out there by yourself, and you don't want to be stranded in pit road by yourself. Let's take a look at that first group that pitted, got out. See if everybody did get out okay. Looks like Joey Hickox was pushed his teammate Randy Bonomi. Now he jumps out of line. He's going to fall to the back. Not sure why, if he's maybe saving fuel or what the deal is. But that's going to put Robert Duvendak up to the pushing position. Randy Bonomi leading. It looks like that truck is cleaned up after he used a fast repair earlier. The 4, Chris Akers. 3rd truck on the bottom. Matthew Fritz, Guy Braco, Kenneth Riedinger, Justin Parham. All the really fast guys that we saw earlier up here now. And still no pit stops here. It looks like actually we did see a couple more go in. Sure enough, we did. Paul Witt let him down. His teammate Xander Short went with him. Looks like William McKellar as well. Robert Jordan, William George. And this is where we're going to start to see some of the battles. Watch the pit cam. And as these guys come out, looks like the race off pit road is going to go to Paul Witt. Look for that second group to come flying around the tribal any second. Ooh, and they look to be a little bit behind. There they are. But yeah, they're more behind than we're used to seeing. We'll see if they can catch up this time, but this group has already made their way into turn 1, as that second group was just coming out of the tri-oval. And they're going to have to make sure they are hauling the mail right here. All they got to do is get in the draft. They'll have a chance. Randy Bonomi just now making his way out turn 2, and I think they're going to be okay. I think they'll be able to catch him. Oh, looks like there's some contact up front. William Cantrell or something has an issue. Trying to figure it out now. No caution for anything, though. Oh, but he's in the grass, so this is going to be pit road problems. Let's see what just happened here. This is going to be that lead group now making their pit stops. And we already got one locked up right here. Let's back this up a little bit more. Watch William Cantrell here. Let's see if he's in the 7 truck. Was he the first one that locks it up right here? I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, he's just kind of getting in here way too hot right now. Oh, yeah, he's already got it locked up. Looks like the 9 did decide to stay out on track, wanted to avoid the chaos. And once you get it locked up, that thing just does not turn. The 37 was able to get around. Does Jeff Carl maybe spin out here as well? I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, there's more contact further back. Jeff Carl looks like he spins himself out. The 7 trying to get back down on pit road. Oh, no, makes bigger contact with the 37 of Joseph Fogg. That almost sends him into the 88. Looks like he keeps it out, but now you got the 7 in the grass. The 98's trying to get spun around. And that will end those guys' night for sure without a caution. And we will go back live up front, where it looks like TJ has just made his way down pit road. Unfortunate news for him as he's by himself. He's really going to have to hurry, and I don't know if that's going to be enough. Oh, yeah, you see Pack already going by him. TJ not going to be able to stay with the lead pack. Doesn't really matter what he tries right here. Go back live. This thing's not wanting to stay live for some reason. 15 laps to go, though, so now it is go time. Pit stops are over. Brian Anderson is going to come out the biggest winner out of all of it, as he is currently leading the field. He's got Paul Witt behind him. Paul Witt has 2 of his Max Speed TV teammates lined up, and William McKellar and Xander Short, so when he's ready to go, he knows he's guaranteed help. Matthew Dyer, Randy Bonomi, and that whole pack behind him have caught up, and it looks like Robert Duvendak, Chris Akers, they wanted to jump to the high side. They thought about going just as quick as they jump out. They're going to get right back in line. And the field comes roaring at you at 185 miles an hour there on your pit road cam. And Brian Bassard Brian Anderson starting to feel like a sitting duck, I gotta believe. This might make him feel a little bit more comfortable as he sees the 66, because the worst thing, feeling at least, that you can have as a leader to be leading a long single file line come to the white flag lap, because you know that there's a move coming. But by this way, Randy Bonomi trying to take the lead here. Now that might trap some of those Max Speed TV drivers that are behind him from making a move on him. But Randy Bonomi with a huge push from Robert Duvendak gets clear of the bottom. Looks like he decides not to take it, though. Robert Duvendak maybe not too happy about that. That truck can get hot in a hurry when you are pushing as hard as the 99 was, so he's really going to need that 66 to eventually drop down, or it may start to cause him some issues. And now they are side by side here with 13 laps to go. Randy Bonomi, Robert Duvendak on the outside, Brian Anderson and Paul Witt on the inside. When will we see a third lane form, and from who? It looks like the main pack now, we can actually check it out. The 2 looks to be the last truck in it, so it is going to be a 12-car lead pack racing for the lead. And then after that, you are going to have Joseph Fogg, who we saw, unfortunately, nothing of his doing, at the bad end of the stick on those last pit stops. He sits at 10 seconds, now 11 behind this main pack. So we will have a 12-truck battle for the win, and oh my goodness, just as quick as we saw him leading, Brian Anderson 3 wide in the middle, goes all the way to the back just about. And 3x3 up front, Matthew Fritz getting a push from Kenneth Riedinger and Justin Parham. And in that middle line, Joey Hickox was that third pusher. And I'm not sure what happened to Justin Parham, but he is not in this lead pack, as we still see 3x3. Everybody getting antsy. Robert Duvendak is going to back off here as they see a lap car. We've got to be really careful right here. They squeeze 4 wide for just a second around the lap car. Everybody holds on to it. Joey Hickox by himself up top. Robert Duvendak, Chris Akers have found each other again. They're going to line up for another run. Will Joey Hickox think about going with them? I did want to take a quick moment real quick. Justin Parham has fallen back. Maybe had a pit stop issue. He is in 14th. We are not going to be able to run through the field right now, because if we do, we're going to miss something, because the racing is picked up right here up front. Now is the time to go, and Matthew Fritz for Hickox Racing has taken the lead. in the 48 machine. Second, Kenneth Riedinger. Not surprised to see it back up here. Paul Witt trapped on the bottom right now, the 66. That's another Hickox Racing driver, and it looks like with that being the case, Hickox Racing has all three of their drivers that are in the field tonight up in this lead pack, fighting with a chance to win it. 11 laps to go. Urgency continuing to set in as we are just about to hit the final 10 here at Talladega in this 250-mile race. They are coming up on a couple more lap cars, so they are going to go 3 wide for just a moment. And those lap trucks might play a factor here because even though their race is done, Guy Braco and John Lynch could be still racing for the lucky dog if a caution were to come out. And if it doesn't on that white flag lap, they might get up here and decide to get racy either way. There we go. 11 laps to go now, coming to 10 laps to go. Everybody's starting to get a little bit more and more sideways. The 48, Matthew Fritz, hoping he can stay where he is for 10 more laps on that outside lane. Now we see Brian Anderson and Xander Short trying to get back to the front. William McKellar behind his teammate Paul Witt, but they don't really have anywhere to go right now. And that top lane is going to need a little bit more help, and they might get it from one of these lap trucks. Looks like Guy Braco was slowly creeping up to that top lane. They haven't quite got back up to this draft just yet, and you see another lap truck in the distance. And each lap truck they run up on is going to be a little bit harder and harder to pass, especially if they start to get 3 wide. But it looks like they may only have one more lap truck, at most 2. And you see it on your track map there, coming up on the lap truck 27 right now. And that should be it after that. It will be clean racing, clean track from there. And it's just coming down to who wants to push harder, who makes the move at the right time. That's the 25, DJ Madish, who was hoping for another caution. He's not going to get it, and I think this might put him back to 2 laps down. Unfortunately, it does. And they are 3 wide. It looks like Brian Anderson wants no part of that, so he's going to back it up, go back down to 2 wide. Randy Bonomi, though, jumps to the top line to go 3 wide, as it looks like DJ Madish made some contact with the wall and keeps it together. Nobody pulls out with the 66 of Randy Bonomi, and he has fallen back quick. Now we see a power move from Paul Witt, jumps to the middle in front of Kenneth Riedinger. And side by side out of turn 4, Matthew Fritz still leading the bottom. Now he's got William McKellar behind him. Up top, Kenneth Riedinger, one of the best pushers so far tonight, trying to push Paul Witt to the lead. Sure enough, he does. Paul Witt, your pole sitter, back out in charge with 8 laps to go at Talladega. Kenneth Riedinger has certainly been one of the best pushers tonight, but he's now looking for someone to be the best pusher on him. Robert Dubendak's trying to do just that. He's going to finally get him clear. I think Kenneth's trying to bring with him, but he's got to be careful. If he waits too long, that bottom line might go away. And Kenneth's still holding up top, though. Remember, with 8 laps to go, some of these guys now maybe just thinking they don't want necessarily to go to the bottom. They want to stay on whichever lane they feel comfortable. And Robert Duvendak has been a very comfortable pusher so far tonight, but him and Chris Akers have been the second, if not the fastest duo, besides that 24 and the 19. Ooh, Paul Witt washed up just a little bit. Oh, there's more contact to the 75. Hold on to it. He does. The 47, Sam Boutwell, checks up, allows him to hold on to it. And boy, that was a close call, but nice save by everybody there to keep from bringing out a caution. 7 laps to go. Each lap seems to get more and more aggressive. The 24, Kenneth Riedinger, and now he is finally going to drop low. I think Robert Duvendak may have started to get a little too hot. As much as he would have liked to stay up, he couldn't any longer. And that puts Chris Akers, one of the best super speedway pushers, on the back bumper of the 99. You know he's going to push, but you got to keep your truck cool, because if somehow they get stuck like this on that last lap, you do not want to accidentally not have anywhere to go or have a truck that's overheated, because if you blow up on the last lap, not only is your race over, you might cause a big pileup and end the race for a lot of these guys. Up top, though, here comes the 90 of John Lynch. I believe John might be a lap truck. And sure enough, he is, but he's going to get up here and try to make these guys race. He sure as heck would not mind a caution as long as he's not in it. Matthew Dyer is going to go with him. Matthew Dyer is on the lead lap. He's going to use this 90 as a pick to try to get himself up here. Kenneth Riedinger, though, still in charge on the bottom lane. Robert Duvendak in the middle. That third lane hasn't made nearly as much progress as I thought it would so far. We haven't seen a lot of people jump into it here in these last 10 laps, I would say. Earlier, that seemed to be the place to go. Not been the case so far, though. Roaring down the back stretch. It'll be 5 laps to go next time Kenneth Riedinger still leading the way. William McKellar. Nobody's been trying to set up any special runs just yet. But Paul Witt and Chris Akers right now trying to manage their temps and keep the guy right in front of them out in front. And sometimes being a pusher can be just as good as being the leader. You never know what can happen on the last lap. Because if we take that white flag, it will be no more cautions, checkers, or wreckers. Whoever gets back here first is going to win it. Looks like saw Guy Braco jump up top. He is another one of those trucks that's not on the lead lap but fighting for that lucky dog position. And actually, here we go. They're going to come up on a couple more lap trucks. I didn't think they'd catch these guys, but they have. And it looks like it's going to be 3-lap trucks. They're all single file on the bottom right now. That's going to cause everybody to get back down to 2 wide. As wow, one of those trucks is heavily damaged. And I wonder if that might be the 28 of Russ Kilgore. Oh, we got one in the wall to 99. Robert Dubendak's around. The whole pack's going to get into it. Caution is out. The 66, Randy Bonomi. Robert Dubendak's all banged up. Joey Hickox has a little bit of damage. And you know what? I think both times tonight that it's looked like the whole pack's been in it. Right after I say that, somehow everybody avoids it. I mean, look where this wreck starts. And somehow most of these guys are able to avoid it. Let's see what initially starts this here. So they were coming up on a couple lappers. Let's check TV1 for, actually, let's go to a chopper view. And here you go, Robert Duvendak, the 99, was trying to get a little side draft. And right, oh, that's not what they wanted to do. It looks like Chris Akers just gave him a little bit of a bad shove. Nothing intentional here. Chris trying everything to help Robert to the front, but just watch this, just boom, slight contact in the right rear, turns him right down into Paul Witt. Thankfully, Paul's able to hold on to it, but that sends the 99 back up into the outside wall. Now he comes back down, collects Randy Bonomi. Then it's on from here. They get down into Xander Short, who somehow doesn't get any damage. 66 takes a pretty hard hit up into the wall. Randy Bonomi is maybe going to have his race ended with that damage. We'll have to see. But let's go down to Randy Bonomi here. Watch this from his point of view. Or actually, not from his point of view, rather, but so you see Duvendak has already got turned at this one. Back it up a little more. Watch this. I mean, that's a pretty hard hit into the outside wall in the 66. Boom. That might be terminal engine damage. Wow, the 17 of Brian Anderson didn't even notice that. He came flying in there, nowhere to go. Nancy Hickok says in the chat, that does seem like the mood probably for a couple of these guys. The unfortunate thing about this, too, for that lead pack is they were all looking really good at having a good chance at keeping it a battle between themselves. But now with that, a lot of the field that was waiting for a caution, they got it, and they're going to be back in contention with a chance to win this. So we maybe just doubled our pack size, and we are going to be going into overtime. And it will be a 2-lap shootout. Quick reminder of the rules. If we take the white flag, then we will finish it off. If we don't, we get a caution beforehand. We will rack them up and do it again. And let's see, who do we have up here? We know Kenneth Riedinger isn't in the chat. How about we talk to one of these guys that's up here, potentially in the top 5. So maybe got a chance for it. So we're going to go get an in-race interview from one of these guys up here. We'll be right back. Stick with us. All right, and it looks like we are going to have a, see if we can dial up here real quick. Your current 5th place runner, Chris Akers. Chris, you got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, I'll tell you what, first let's talk about just how hard these trucks are to drive. We saw you and Robert Duvendak working so well together there. It looked like you just gave him the slightest tap offset, and that sent him into the wall. How hard is it to push in these things?
Oh man, that's pretty easy. I think what happened there was the lap cars coming up on us decided to split at last second. He checked up and I didn't realize it while I was pushing him as hard as I could and just barely got into him. But man, me and him's been running great all night. Running from the back to the front 2 or 3 times. It's been an awesome night so far.
All right, and it looks like you have a couple at least of your teammates up here. It looks like Joey's going to be behind you, Matthew Fritz in front of you. What's the game plan? How are you guys going to try to link up and get a win here for Hickox Racing?
I just push as hard as we can and hope for the best. You know how it gets here at the Superspeedway racing here at the end. It can go from best to worst real quick, so we're just going to see what happens.
All right, well, you're going to have 2 laps to do it, so we will see what happens. Hopefully we're talking to you at the end of this thing. Good luck.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
And that is your current 5th place runner, Chris Akers. We'll see if he can get it done. We're going to move him back to his Discord as well real quick. And there we go. He's getting ready to go. And kind of proved me wrong right there. He told you guys, I thought it was looking pretty difficult tonight with the way a lot of these guys were handled. But he said it's pretty easy to push in these trucks. But just that slight checkup was all it took for him to just give Robert Duvendak enough of a bump, send him into the wall. How about your top 5, though, as they run? It's going to be Kenneth Riedinger first, Paul Witt second, Matthew Fritz third, William McKellar fourth, and Chris Akers, we just talked to, rounding out the top 5. Some of the other guys, though, that are going to have a chance is going to be anybody inside the top 10. That includes Sam Boutwell, 6th. Joey Hickok, 7th. 8th is going to be Albert Hewins, 9th. TJ, and looks like rounding out the top 10 is going to be Joseph Fogg. Joseph, good recovery after getting turned earlier, but boy, it's been a fight for him. Trying to get back up here. The pace truck lights are off, though. That means we are ready to go green for our first overtime attempt here tonight in the Manny Ray's NOMA Truck Series. Hope everybody has been enjoying it so far. Been a pretty good night. Had a decent amount of people come out to watch. We certainly appreciate that. Again, the NOMA Truck Series will be here on Ghost Racing Network for Saturdays to come, at least from what I've heard from Joey, unless I guess we get fired. But glad to be here. Glad to watch these guys putting on a show. And they are about to put on more of a show than we have seen all of tonight because everybody knows now a win is on the line. Everybody got stage points. Everybody kept their truck clean for this point right here. A lot of these guys up front still have a fast pair if they need it, so they're not scared to make some moves right here. And we will see who can prevail. Pace truck pulls off. Kenneth Riedinger ready to go. Can he hold the field off with Matthew Fritz behind him? Chris Akers, can he link up? He's got his teammate in front and behind him. And if they can get around Kenneth Riedinger, they are going to be hard to beat. Here we go, though. Overtime at Talladega. Green flag is out. Kenneth Riedinger got the perfect start. Matthew Fritz looks like he got a pretty good one as well. The 429 of Paul Witt doesn't have help just yet, but here comes his teammate, William McKellar, in the 75. Sam Boutwell's got to be careful. Oh, he almost turned the 75 around into turn 1. 75 does hold on. 3 wide further back. Everybody jockeying for position while they can get it. And now that outside, here comes a big run. This is the 48. Think about jumping high here. Looks like he's going to stick to the 24's bumper for now. If Matthew Fritz wants a chance at it, I think he's got to go now. And there he goes. Sure enough, the 48's trying to pull high. Kenneth Riedinger is trying to block. He can't quite make it work. That's going to put Chris Akers, the lead pusher, on the bottom. Paul Witt's pushing up top. And if Paul Witt takes Matthew Fritz 3 wide, that'll be the end of Matthew Fritz's race. He would not get any help. But they're getting a huge run. The 48's got, oh, there's contact. Paul Witt spins in the tri-oval. Yellow flag is out. A bunch of drivers going back up the track here. And we have ourselves another mess. They are still wrecking the 88 hard into the wall on the bottom. And we are not done just yet. Yellow flag came out just before the start-finish line. Nancy Hickox did ask who was the lucky dog. I do apologize, Nancy. I missed it that time. I will figure this out. Let's see what happened here. They were so close. Paul Witt, not sure if he was just trying everything he could to maybe get down with, or if he did the same thing that maybe we saw earlier from the 5, which is that tunnel vision. See if we can get a good view of it here. So coming to the trial here, let's see from that view. Paul Witt's not clear yet. Actually, let's go to the chopper view while we're watching. And watch this 420. Man, it is close too. And I think at this point, Paul Witt, he's following the 48, following the 48, following the 48. And I'll tell you what, I think this is the same thing we saw earlier with John Bell in the 5. I'm telling you, it's this crazy looking phenomena that you don't really think about, but we'll go to cockpit view here real quick again, show you what I'm talking about. Look at his eyes here. His goal right now is push, push, push on this 48's bumper. It's his best chance to get clear, so he is just falling. He can't really see that well in front of him, so he's just pushing. He thinks they're still in the second lane, but what he can't really realize, because it's so hard to tell, is that they're actually drifting down as Matthew Fritz is trying to get clear of the bottom. That's why a lot of times drivers will hope that that guy in the top will just drop down so it's not kind of close like that. But when he does this, he makes a little bit of contact, and that slight contact, once you get stuck together, it's on from there. Watch the 429. It even looks like the 75 maybe kind of does the same thing. Not quite. So William McKellar was able to get at that little tunnel vision, but once he gets down into Kenneth Riedinger, it's on from here. You see Joey Hickox, Chris Akers starting to stack up. They're going to also get into Paul Witt. That sends Chris Akers up the track. And, I mean, look at the guys getting collected. Chris Akers gets up into, I believe, I couldn't tell that was. It might have been Joseph Fogg. Joey Hickox sliding. And, I mean, there's just nowhere to go for so many of these drivers here. Up top, the 79, James Scamardella's in it. The 9's in it. The 2, Matthew Dyer, nowhere to go. The 88 is going to try to squeak through, but then he's going to get hit right here. This is going to send him into the inside wall. He locks it down here, but things going to start rolling backwards on him right here. And watch, I think he's going to tank slap the wall. Does he actually stop just before it? Oh, can't quite do it. That's still a pretty good hit. Wasn't quite able to scrub off all that speed. Let's take a couple more views of this from different angles. Let's look at, let's watch the 88's point of view here so we can get a little bit better shot of this. Watch this from TV2. Here we go. There's the contact. I mean, it is on from there. They just all start getting into it. I'll tell you what, where Chris Akers went up the track, everybody up there looks like they did a heck of a job holding on to it, though. And while they all made some contact with each other, they didn't make any heavy contact with anything else, which is probably the most ideal thing that you could ask for in that situation. Look at Paul Witt here next. And there you go. Once he gets turned, they all start piling on in. One more view of this from the blimp. Actually, we'll do TV3 for this final view, as this should give everybody a good view from the grandstands. Here you go. And as of right now, I think we might have to classify that as the big one. Of course, we still have another chance at it, so maybe not, but this does change up the top 5. Paul Witt, your pole sitter, who was so dominant. He's going to have a lot of ground to make up now because he will be starting from the back after using that fast repair. Matthew Fritz is going to be leading the way in the 48. Behind him is William McKellar. Chris Akers starts 3rd. Sam Boutwell 4th. And Joseph Fogg rounding out the top 5. We did kind of note it, or I don't know if I told you guys, but I do apologize. Chris Akers is actually not a max speed TV driver for the NOMA Truck Series. He is on Hickox Racing, and that's important to note because up here is a couple of his teammates. It does concern me a little bit, the damage on the left side of that Ford truck. Hopefully it doesn't affect him too bad. They did have Joey up here with them, but Joey got involved in that wreck, and he has also fallen pretty far back right now. John Lynch, his night might be over. Joey Hickox, 11. So actually not too bad, but that 31 truck is pretty banged up. And we have, it looks like 18 trucks still on the lead lap, Matthew Dyer being the last one. So far, it looks like, not sure who got the lucky dog on this one. It may have been Guy Braco, though. Not 100% sure. These guys have started all kind of mixing it up, making it a little bit harder to tell. But the lights are off, so we're going to take attempt 2 at it this time. Can Matthew Fritz hold off a charging William McKellar on the outside? Does Sam Boutwell have anything to say about it? Doesn't have any of his teammates up here, as he is one of those independent drivers. But he has shown speed all night. So we'll see if he can finish it off, as it is going to be another 2-lap shootout. If we take the white flag, we'll finish it off. Or if we get a yellow, we will rack them up and do it again. Final reminder, because if you're just tuning in, we want to let you know that we thank you for being here on Ghost Racing Network. If you enjoy it, we don't necessarily ask you to subscribe. We'd, of course, like it. But if nothing else, leave a comment or a thumbs up. Let us know what you thought, what you want to see more of, less of. And we thank you for joining us here on a Saturday night. Ghost Racing Network continuing to try to grow. You guys have been awesome so far. We hope to continue that journey and gain more followers each day with you guys as we continue to broadcast all these amazing leagues. NOMA, one of the top leagues in iRacing. And NOMA does stand for the National Online Motorsports Association. Just in case anybody out there was wondering, there's your quick fun fact of the day. But it's not time for fun right now. It's time to get serious because there's a win on one of the most famous tracks in NASCAR on the line at the end of 250 miles. Actually, we've gone over that now, being here in overtime. Everybody is mentally wore out. They want to get the win. They're so close, 2 laps away. Who is gonna get it? Green flag is back out. 2 laps to go at Talladega. With a 75, didn't get the best jump. Chris Akers has some damage, so he tried to give that 48 a push while he could. And this is what starts to worry me. That 4 trucks falling back a little bit. That outside, though, Sam Boutwell's stacking right up on the bumper. The 75 now. Chris Akers recovered. Oh, more contact out back. We're wrecking again. Brian Anderson was in this one. He made contact with somebody. Are they still? Oh, big hit. Who was that? Oh, wow. We just had one truck actually leave the track. Robert Duvendak, that was. My goodness. The 69 Guy Braco. Might have been Robert Morrison who made contact. I couldn't tell. But we are going to rack him up now and do it again. Couldn't even make it through turn 1. Let's go back, take a look at it. This is further back. This is not where this is going to start. This is going to start somewhere with Brian Anderson, was who I saw initially get out of whack. Him and somebody else. Might have been Robert Duvendak. Let's go to the chopper view first to figure it out. We'll take a look at the wreck itself. And here we go. Let's see. You got Robert Duvendak. I don't see him in the picture just yet, but he may have been further back in this incident. Anyway, we see the 17, Brian Anderson, 3 wide with the 19, Justin Parham. And it looks like squeezes him down a little bit, then comes back up. And they just kind of squeezed together there. I'm not really sure. Brian Anderson maybe trying to hold him down. It almost looked like they were maybe kind of fighting for the same drafter off the 47. And watch, they kind of both just drift into each other right here. Slight contact, and again, once you make a little bit of contact, they get hooked together. That sends the 17 up. He tries to correct, comes back down, turns the 19. Oh, Justin Parham didn't see this. Boom. That's a pretty big hit for Justin Parham. And he gets hit again by the 17, and then spinning down the track goes Justin. I think he's going to make contact with somebody further back. Can't tell exactly who it is just yet. Oh, that's going to be who it is, Robert Duvendak. That's where the contact for Duvendak comes into play. Let's see it here. Yep, Duvendak's trying to sneak around this. He's going to drop low. Oh, that is a big hit. But watch this next hit right here. That is going to be the 43, Robert Morrison, who you saw smoking, and that would be why, because that was a pretty hard hit. Let's look at it from TV1 here. TV2 first to start, actually. Here you go. Sorry, let me get back to it. Boom, 19 out of the outside wall. Robert Duvendak trying to stick around it, can't do it. And then here comes an on-rushing Robert E. Morrison. Different view here. Let's look at Justin Parham here. And watch it here. I mean, this thing goes straight left when he gets hooked. Just nothing he could do. And that is just how quick things can happen here at Talladega. Looking like maybe we had another incident here under caution. Let's see if something happens here. So remember, this is under caution, so would be surprised if something happened here, but you never know. DJ Madish on the apron. Oh, no, I know what he's going to do. He's going to get up here and give Robert E. Morrison a push. And that's sportsmanship at its best right there. That 43 is total, but he's saying, hey, man, I got a fast pair left. All I need is someone to get me to the pits, and there you go. 25, showing a lot of class. Not on the lead lap, doesn't care. Going to get out here, give Robert E. Morrison another chance. Gets on his back bumper, starts pushing him. That's what we like to see out here. 25 has damage as well. And that's bump drafting at its best. Let's go back live, where your current leader is going to still be Matthew Fritz in the 48. Second, William McKellar. Third, Chris Akers. Fourth, Sam Boutwell. And fifth, Joseph Fogg in the 37. And I don't know how many green-white checkers they have, because there is a limit. But I don't, or usually there's a limit. They may have unlimited on. I'm not exactly sure. But hopefully we can finish it this time and we don't have to worry about it. Get one of those classic Talladega photo finishes. But we're starting to see a lot of damaged trucks up here. Looks like we have 16 trucks right now on the lead lap. we had a lot for most of the race. Things started to get a little sloppy here at the end. Everybody fighting for every inch. We'll see if we can finish this thing off. Raymond Daniels Sr. does say, thank you for broadcasting tonight. Do appreciate it. Hope that you are enjoying it. And I'll tell you what, real quick, while they're getting ready to go green, just so I can get a drink of water, we're going to take a quick break, but you won't miss a thing as we go Ghost Racing Network side by side. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway as we are getting ready to go green again for our second attempt at overtime here at Talladega. Matthew Fritz going to try to hold off William McKellar. Couple guys in these next couple rows. Xander Short, looks like he has a little damage, but it's been fast all night. We'll see if he's got a chance. If you have been here the whole broadcast, I'm going to give you some applause because how about it? We are over 2 hours in from the start of this race, but we might finish it right here. Matthew Fritz has his Hickox Motorsports teammate Chris Akers behind him. Can they both finish 1-2? We'll see, but here we go, rolling into the tri-oval and in to the Geico restart zone potentially for the final time. 2 laps to go. Green flag back in the air. And this was a little bit better start from that outside line. Sam Boutwell, though, is not there to give the 75 the help he needs. Chris Akers already has locked on to his teammate. To this first turn, everybody's going to continue to jockey around for position as much as they can. That's been the trend so far. 3 wide for the back. That's DJ Maddish. Not in the battle for the win, but here we go. That outside line has a 2-truck tandem. The 75 and the 47, they get side by side. Chris Akers, the damage not enough to affect him. He continues to push his teammate into turn 3. The caution flag is out. No, this is not what we wanted to see. We got one flipping, though, on the back. And the 12, Xander Short's in it. Looks like Joey Hickox got back rolling. I believe that's the 19 of Justin Parham. Oh, and the 79, that's James Scamordella's got a lot of damage. And this one is starting to become a little brutal, but let's go back and take a look at it. As I just saw confirmation of the white flag, so gotta wonder if maybe that was the last green-white checkered. I'm not sure. Let's take a look at this wreck real quick, and then we'll go find out. I know Xander Short was in it, so let's go to him. Oh, I mean, 3 wide back here. Look at this is a mess right here. Everybody's trying to get position. This might be a pack that didn't have enough speed, too many damaged trucks to catch. This will back us up a little more. Let's see here. Kenneth Riedinger's pushing Joey Hickox. Oh, he's going to hit him a little offset right here. Oh, they just all kind of condensed together again. The 55, that's Albert Hewins and Kenneth Riedinger get together. That sends Xander Short up into Joey Hickox. And then they just kind of start piling it up from here. Wow, this was another pretty big wreck. A lot more drivers than I initially thought were in it were in this one. And there you go. You see Paul Witt. He was also in it. Justin Parham. We saw one truck get up on its side. Thankfully. Oh, no. Joey Hickox. Oh, my goodness. He sure enough did get up and over. Wow. Very, very interesting. Let's get right on board real quick with Joey Hickox, and then we will go to what I believe is going to be the end of this thing. And that may have been the checkered flag that we just saw fly, but let's look at Joey here. Here we go, right on board with Joey as this thing started tumbling. Thankfully for Joey, he was able to get back on all four. White flag. Looks like it did potentially go in the air, but I'm not sure if we're all said and done just yet. That's kind of what we're looking for right here. This is William McKellar. He is your current leader. Let's see if he indeed does take the white or the checkered flag here. Pacing around right now, and it doesn't look like it. I'm not really sure what is going on, but let's go back live and figure this out a different way, because, yep, looks like checkered flag did fly, and we will go back and take a look at it in the air, unless I'm missing something. I'll tell you what, my scoring thing is, I think, had enough so far tonight, but I think that was indeed the checkered flag. Again, did not know exactly how many green-white checkers we had, but this was coming to the checkered flag under caution, and I think the 75 after this just sped up because he knew the race was over, and it looks like a lot of guys pulling it off track, so we will make it official here in hopefully just a minute after we see the 75 cross the start-finish line. And we will zoom out, look for the flag man to throw the checkered flag in the air. We're waiting to see him. And sure enough, there it is. Checkered flag flies. Your winner is William McKellar in the 75 officially at Talladega. Boy, that one was throwing me for a loop there at the end. But yes, the 75 does win it under caution. And let's go get your top three because we got some interesting stuff to talk about for this one. Stick with us. We'll be right back. All right, and before we actually get to them, what we're going to do here real quick is take the results off the page, and we're going to back this up to show you the time of caution because it's important as that determines the race winner and your top three, because your top three wasn't quite what I thought. It's not as they came across the line. It was the time of caution, so let's get you a good view of it right here. We'll look at TV1. Oh, man, and it was just that close. Matthew Fritz, maybe a little bit longer, he could have pulled it out. Let's see if we can get better angle on this. How about the chopper view? There you go. You see the chopper view. The 75 is out in front. But the caution didn't quite come out right here. It should have came out. And there you have it. Give me 1 second. Check one more. And with that, you can see that the 47 is not second as he came across the line, but actually third. So your top three as it runs right now is going to be William McKellar first, Sam Boutwell second, and Chris Akers. Or sorry, not Chris. I'm sorry, guys. I messed this up. I meant to say first place is going to be William McKellar, second, Matthew Fritz, and third is going to be Sam Boutwell. Chris Akers, we thought initially was in the top three. He is not. Either way, let's get right to your top three. Let's start with your third place finisher, Sam Boutwell. Sam, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was a crazy finish. Scoring, I think, had me more confused than the actual finish itself. But you bring it home third. I had a couple things that you had to rebound from on the night. Tell us how you got it done there towards the end.
Well, the whole last run, I just hung on to the back of the 75, shoved him. I know I got him squarely a bunch, but I just kept staying hooked to him and decided our best chance at even keeping a top three or even a top five was just me staying hooked to him. And so that's just what I did. Sometimes you got to be the bigger person and just shove.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think William McKellar's going to be pretty happy that you shoved because you got him a win. But before we let you go tonight, is there anyone else you want to thank or shout out?
I just want to thank everybody for letting me join this league's rookie year. Finally getting a good finish out of it. Having a blast.
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That is your third place finisher tonight, Sam Boutwell in the 47. And now we can move on to your second place finisher tonight, Matthew Fritz. Matthew, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll tell you what, initially I didn't realize that you had actually brought home second, but we take a look at it there, and it was really close. You actually almost got the win. Were you hoping that you guys could get to the line, and if you did you think you would maybe come home with the win?
Yeah, I got one of the best pushers behind me, Chris Akers. So yeah, I thought we had a good chance, and I initially thought I had it at first, but then iRacing said that William got it, so it was close.
It was close, but Chris Akers gave you a good push all night. Looked like Hickox Racing was having a pretty good night overall. How did you guys work so well together throughout the whole race and get a second place finish for one of the drivers?
Joey and Chris, strategizing, and we stay with each other as a team, and Manny Ray's we're great as a team, and I love being on the team.
All right. Well, before we let you go tonight, is there anyone else you'd like to thank or shout out?
I think Manny Ray's the sponsor on my hood. Joey, Chris Akers, especially. Jay's not here; he's on vacation. We we did well for you, Jay. Randy did well.
All right. Well, thank you. Congratulations, and ladies and gentlemen, that is your second place finisher, Matthew Fritz, in the 48 truck. And now let's move on to your winner, the man of the hour, William McKellar. William, you got a copy?
Macho Ham is here, and he's finally in victory lane. Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, did you think that you had the win there at first, or did you think maybe that you guys were going to have another overtime?
There on the third overtime, I knew it was the last, and the scoring initially said 2, but as soon as that caution came out, it said past the 48, which means my bumper was just far enough ahead. I'd slapped in just good enough a submission hold he couldn't hang.
All right. Well, good job on that first place finish. Before we let you go, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out tonight?
The Macho Ham will always thank the good Lord first and his missus second. Thank you for bringing this amazing race to the people. Thanks to Joey and Jay for putting this amazing league on. And thanks to the viewers for sticking through to the end.
All right. Well, thank you. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. That is your winner tonight, William McKellar. And that should just about wrap us up. Unfortunately, this would not usually be the case, but tonight we're not going to be able to run through the running order because it's incorrect. And I don't want to lead anybody astray, so we'll just keep it with your top 3 for what we had, and that's going to be William McKellar first, Matthew Fritz second, and the 47 of Sam Boutwell third. I want to thank everybody for coming out. It was long, it was grueling, but it was a great race nonetheless. Don't forget, Ghost Racing Network will be over at the Fast Track Sim Racing Cup Series on Monday. Make sure you don't miss out on it, and we will see you guys next Saturday back here in the NOMA Truck Series presented by Manny Ray. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. We'll see you next time.